US to review its economic partnership with Africa, saying Africa must be regarded as an investment destination and not a trade destination market for manufactured goods. The president was addressing the US-Africa Summit on the future of Africa's trade and investment, called on the US to take advantage of Africa's huge population, the prospects under the African Continental Free Trade Area, which is on the cusp of taking off, and availability of labor and green energy potential in Africa to drive prosperity on a global scale. President Ruto also used the opportunity to position Kenya as one of the most favorable investment destinations for the abundant US capital, attributing its competitive advantage to a maturing constitutional democracy and well-developed financial and commercial ecosystem.
I invite US tech firms to pursue the emerging investment prospects in the Silicon Savannah in Konza. There are many lessons we can all draw from Silicon Valley and the Research Triangle, which will make Konza City a success story. I also invite you to take advantage of the opportunity present in Kenya's plan for digital superhighway, paperless and digital government, and the establishment of the robust data hubs as our country continues to strengthen our position as the technology gateway to the larger Eastern and Central Africa region.
This is US billionaire tycoon and founder of Mwale Medical and Technology City in Kenya, rooted for increased investment in Africa. Mwale met 19 African presidents who attended the forum convened by President Joe Biden, calling for sustained efforts to tap into investment opportunities across the continent. And the Kenya Kwanza government will partner with the private sector in keeping its promise to provide employment opportunities for the millions of youth around the country who are currently unemployed. Speaking in Nairobi, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua reiterated that one of the main agenda of the government's economic transformation plan was job creation.
Dear young people, the government remains steadfast to invest in the digital technology as a sure path to our job creation agenda as promised. By the year 2030, research has shown that over 230 million new jobs will be created in sub-Saharan Africa. However, these jobs require ICT skills. It is also important to note that an estimated $130 million investment opportunity lies in digital skills cultivation in Africa. During this period, 50 to 55% of jobs in Kenya will depend on digital skills, and this is an open check to you, our young people. This partnership to train 10,000 Kenyans a year will strengthen digital skills for online jobs.
And the fate of embattled Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza now lies with the Senate after MCAs passed a vote of no confidence against her. The Senate is now set to hold its special sitting next week to consider the ouster motion after Speaker Amason Kingi received correspondence of the particulars against Mwangaza. Kingi is expected to convene a meeting of the Senate to hear charges against the governor. The Senate, by resolution, may appoint a special committee comprising 11 of its members to investigate the matter. According to the correspondence by Meru County Assembly Speaker Ayub Solomon, the governor is accused by MCAs of gross violation of the Constitution and subsidiary laws. And Kanu Secretary General Nick Salat has fed back at his boss Gideon Moi over a decision to suspend him as the party's Secretary General. Salat said Moi has no mandate to suspend him from the party and said, and I quote, "If there is anyone to leave Kanu, then it is Moi, not me." This is Kanu's National Executive Council suspended Salat over several complaints on his conduct and violation of the party constitution. Party chairperson Gideon Moi said Salat would appear before the disciplinary committee, where the proceedings are expected to be heard and determined within 30 days. And the International Criminal Court threw out an appeal by Dominic Ongwen, a Ugandan child soldier turned commander in the Lord's Resistance Army, against his conviction and 25-year sentence for war crimes. Dominic Ongwen, who was himself abducted aged 9 by the rebel group led by the fugitive Joseph Kony, was found guilty last year of murder, rape and sexual enslavement in northern Uganda during the early 2000s. Dressed in a dark blue suit and tie, Ongwen briefly waved to the public gallery but otherwise remained impassive as he listened through headphones to the judgment. Appeals judges said that although Ongwen had been kidnapped as a defenseless child, it did not mitigate his guilt. They also rejected his argument about mental illness and said he had a key role in LRA atrocities as an adult. This is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Everybody, welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Nairobi Latifa, Muga, Madam Du, nimesalimia wote sana.
Tumepokea salamu, asante sana.
Hapa Garissa today the weather is very good, only that baridi inatupeleka mbio sana.
Baridi ni degree ngapi hapa?
Hata sijui lakini madam tunakauka sana.
If you want to follow the money trail, you've got to think like a thief to be able to catch that thief.
A slap from a friend is better than a kiss from an enemy. You remember the zenye walikuwa nauza mboga ndani ya kanisa, took them to heaven.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Hey, it's getting hot in here. The media has greatly contributed to the moral rot that we experience in this country.
I remember a senior politician telling me, point blank, nobody steals in the field, it's stolen in the granary. So my friend, if you're going to win an election, jipange kwa granary.
I think we are suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. Our violator and abuser is also our redeemer in our mind.
The whole political class, the whole political institution is rotten. It is based on ideals that cannot progress our country forward.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
All right, looks like it's just starting this Friday. Looking at traffic that's building up in different parts of the city, probably coming into 7 o'clock more than anything else. At this point, it's just starting to build up in different parts of the city. We'll see it on Jogger Road a little bit, getting out towards Landis and then through towards Kamkunji. Coming off the Thika Superhighway, you should be all right. Getting into the city, nothing major at this point. And we will see some traffic on Mombasa Road heading over that Imara Drift and then out towards Nyayo Stadium. For now, it's just starting. Friday looks like it's going to go off right. Let's keep it that way. Talk to us through the morning on SpiceFM KE on Twitter. And let's keep things moving this Friday.
SpiceFM, Nyeri. This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room.
Good morning at 9 minutes after 6 o'clock. It's Friday, December the 16th, 2022. And getting into the day. How are you doing? Good morning. Hope you're well. And everything is kicking in the manner in which it ought to be kicking today. The question remains, where are these two jolly gentlemen? Where are these two jolly gentlemen? Will soon be with us. Hope you're well today. Thank you for joining us. Kenya's biggest conversation starts now. Getting into the last conversation for this week. Certain things that we will be discussing through the day before everything gets into. Let me tell you what that will be before, we say hello and all those wonderful things. Sit down. Karibu. Good morning, CT. It's excitement to have laid my eyes upon you. You're fine.
I'm very well, thank you, Ndu.
Very good. How many books do you have?
Four.
1,
Four.
2, 3, 4. All of them, you're using all of them today.
What you are seeing here is the expression of a latent part of my being as a hunter-gatherer. This is me gathering notebooks.
You know, in modern times, they will call you
a hoarder.
A hoarder.
Yes.
And it's actually a mental illness.
Then in that case, I have a mental illness.
Have you watched that program, Hoarders?
No.
My goodness. You need to watch it.
So if you've already referred to me as a hoarder, why would I watch myself?
No. I don't think yours is in the extreme. This thing is terrible.
It is, eh?
My friend.
Okay. So could you then say, for instance, that people who are polygamous are also hoarders?
Stop it. Stop it. Don't even go further than that thought. Moving on. Eric, good morning.
So polygamy is a mental illness issue.
Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Ndu.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Very good.
How about you?
I am all right.
Are you?
Am I not? Can't you see?
I don't know, man. Can't see well.
Clean your eye.
Uko poa?
As you see me like this, am I not fine?
Sasa mimi nitajuaje bwana?
Okay.
Mimi nitajuaje? Usiponiambia dada, nitajuaje mie? Siti.
Yes, please.
How you doing?
Very well, thank you, sir.
Very good. Very good. Hiya. Welcome everybody to Kenya's biggest conversation. Ndu, why did you start the show so early?
I started at 9 minutes after 6 o'clock.
Yeah, why so early?
What time did you want me to start?
She had 6. On the dot.
Okay. Next time I'll do like that.
Okay. Let me tell you. We have an interesting show lined up today. Very many things. Ednah did the thing that she's supposed to do. So, yeah.
Wonderful.
She
did it yesterday. Even.
She did yesterday. Not even today. Okay. Now the thing that she did. Hiya. At 7 a.m. today, let's talk about so all these digital lending platforms. Now they are regulated by the CBK, right? The mobile lenders. All of them are now under the ambit of the CBK. And now there is a new thing called the Hustler Fund, which is lending people via mobile. So is it one of those mobile lenders or is it not? Anyway, the chairman of the Digital Financial Services Association of Kenya, Kevin Mutiso, will be here with us to talk to us about the impact of the Hustler Fund on digital lenders. Hustler Fund, 8%. Digital lenders, anything above 8%.
15,000%.
Meaning 8% onwards.
Yes. Yeah. So what is that? Is it going to have an impact on their business? At 8 o'clock, let's talk politics. Inside the cracks in Azimio la Umoja, there's a young man called Solomon Kuria. He was, until recently, the chairman of the Azimio Youth League. Now, he wrote to the party leader and the chairman of the party council told them,
Mimi
nimeenda. Sio hiyo imeenda, mimi nimeenda.
I am gone.
Mimi nimeenda. Mimi nimeenda kabisa. Mimi nimeenda. So, he'll be here to tell us what is it, where are you going?
Kwa nini ameenda?
Yeah, why are you running? Why are you running? Why are you running? It's Friday, and we want to have another health conversation. This time, let's talk about hypertension. Causes, symptoms, and treatment of hypertension. Is there a difference between hypertension and high blood pressure?
Beyond the spelling. Yes.
There is.
Iko.
Tutambua na daktari.
Daktari atakuja.
Yeah. His name is Dr. Robert Mathenge. He has been here before. He's a consultant interventional cardiologist and phlebologist.
That is the one.
And he runs Equatorial Heart and Blood Vessel Clinic. And he is also the head of the cardiology section at the Nairobi Hospital. So he will be here to tell us about hypertension, causes, symptoms, and treatment. Keep it here for that. That is in collaboration with the Nairobi Hospital. At 6:15, Nduoko will shortly tell us about COVID.
As in, I'll tell you in a short while or I'll make it short. Which one?
Both.
Sawa.
The short while begins now.
Okay, short while begins now. And what we're looking at, COVID around the world is 656. We rose by 2 million cases in 24 hours. How come? 656,256,469 is what the global tally is looking like. Flu and RSV hit hard and early. Now COVID-19 is starting to rise just when you thought it was safe for a holiday visit with your Auntie Mary, according to CNN, and her fragile health. Flu has reared its ugly head. Health officials are emphasizing the availability of the protective measures, tests and treatments that they say will be key to preventing a repeat of the COVID-19 surges in the past 2 winters. Now, this is looking obviously in the Western Hemisphere, and they're talking about case numbers having risen, and 14% of the US population is in an area that meets the US CDC's for high COVID-19 community levels. And they're seeing rising cases of flu. They're also inadvertently seeing rising cases of COVID-19. So again, the call is, please, folks, be as careful as possible. Do that thing of wearing a mask and keeping your personal hygiene up there. And, get your shots if you haven't. The Ministry of Health tells us that in Kenya, we are looking at 39 new cases from a sample size of 977, well under 10%, at about 3-4% positivity rate in the last 24 hours. So these are not bad numbers for what COVID looks like in Kenya at the moment. So that's it for COVID. Short and brief in a short while.
Yeah, just like that.
Evil.
Okay. Are we live streaming?
Well, no.
Okay. Until then?
Until Ednah does the business. She's shaking her head, saying no. She's just shaking her head.
Amanda strike.
Yes, that's a new one. Amanda. Amanda.
Yeah. Ednah, usijali. It's 17 minutes after 6. Anyway, we have some technical issues, and that's why we are not live streaming the show this morning. However, if you're online, just let us know you're online, okay? No wahala. Just tell us where you are. 17 after 6. Let's take this quick break to take a look at the weather forecast.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The adults in the room.
I've seen some marriages, relationships, cohabitings struggle because there was no independence of the relationship.
It needs a certain level of intelligence. You need to reach a place where you know yourself, and again, you're not feeding off society.
Whether it is matters of the heart, finances, or work that's weighing on your mind, worry not.
Tune in to Adults in the Room every Monday to Friday from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
The Adults in the Room will help you stay winning. Only on 94.4 SpiceFM, Nairobi.
All right, looking at cloudy conditions at 17 in Nairobi. We'll see highs of 26 and lows of 17 with a chance of light rain this morning. Looking at other parts of the country, at Nakuru is clear at 12, highs of 26. It'll come back down to lows of 12. And Nyeri is cloudy at 16 with highs of 25. 9 degrees and partly cloudy in Eldoret, highs of 25 and lows of 9. And we'll see highs of 31 in Mombasa, where the sun is due to rise early this morning. We're also seeing mostly sunny conditions through Malindi, currently at 26, going to highs of 32. It's partly cloudy at 20 in Kampala, highs of 26 and lows of 18. And we'll see lows of 25 in a sunny Dar es Salaam at 25 at the moment, going to highs of 31. It's mostly cloudy at 16 in Johannesburg, highs of 24, and we'll see highs of 32 in a clear Lagos at 26. It's 24 and raining in Kinshasa, highs of 30 and lows of 23. Looking out into Beijing, Friday afternoon is -4 and sunny, highs of -2. And lows of -14 going into the weekend. It's -2 and clear. There's a snowstorm in Paris, highs of 4 and lows of -4. And -2 and clear in London. With highs of 3, we'll see lows of -2. It's 6 degrees and rainy in New York Thursday night. Coming into Friday, we'll see highs of just 6 and lows of 5.
Chilled Spice. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
Online, we know. We'll be acknowledging them as we go. Right?
Right.
Yes. City.
Yes, please.
Did you remember?
Do you remember?
No.
Kiwi. Honestly, I forgot.
What are people drinking? Did you go to the supermarket? You went, Abby?
I didn't go.
You didn't go to the supermarket
That was the
even?
problem. I didn't go.
That was problem number one
I
there.
was in an Uber heading there.
To the supermarket?
Yes.
And then?
I left here to go to the supermarket because I knew if I didn't go to the supermarket expeditiously, I would not do whatever I was supposed to do. And I got a call. That call diverted me completely. Yes. There's a meeting that I was supposed to attend that was brought forward. So, all the plans...
Long story short.
Okay, you hold on.
Maybe pia sikuenda supermarket.
Why?
Because there was a meeting I was supposed to have.
Yes, silly.
As I was going to the supermarket, I got a call.
Are we allowed to issue a disclaimer?
You can issue it. Let me hear.
No, we are not together with this man.
Two of you.
And I have no knowledge of the call he received.
I'm doubting two of you. Two of you are behaving somehow.
I received a call, so now I ended up not going to the supermarket.
So what are we saying?
The supermarket should go to Moses.
No, today I'm definitely going to the supermarket.
That's what you said yesterday.
Yeah, but that was yesterday.
You know what we want you to do? Should I remind you?
Just remind us.
Okay. I'm trying to get you to step up and shine for somebody now.
Yes.
Abi? So you go to the supermarket. Even if you will just go to the supermarket just to buy kiwi, please just go and do it. Buy 1 tin of kiwi black polish. When you leave the supermarket, just outside the door, don't go far. Under the lid, you'll find a code. You're going to dial on your one mobile. Star 459 *5 and then you will send the code that you will find under the lid to that number. You'll follow the prompt. You're going to win airtime. Can you imagine? Somebody's even begging you, come and buy kiwi so I can give you airtime, or I give you bundles, right? When you do that, you also automatically enter a draw to be able to win 35,000 shillings in school fees. 36 people are going to win. I thought we have agreed now.
Yeah.
So what happened now? Are we going to do it today?
Yes.
Please, guys, step up and
I'll
shine.
even call you and tell you.
Step up and
when
shine.
I'm in the shop. And I'm going to buy 2 tins.
Now, Ndu.
Yes.
You were to call us at midday yesterday. Did you call us?
You see, can you imagine?
You received a call that distracted
I also
me
received
from
a call that distracted me from calling you people. In fact, I can show you on my phone the call that came in at midday.
All right. Hi, Suru. City.
Yes.
Who's Suru?
Tell us the day's proverb.
Me, I'm amazed at the lack of imagination. Couldn't you guys have been distracted by something else other than a call? Surely. Right. Final proverb from the country of Equatorial Guinea. Wherever a man goes to dwell, his character goes with him.
Indeed.
Wherever a man goes to dwell,
Yep.
his character goes with him. This is the final proverb from the country of Equatorial
Guinea.
Equatorial Guinea. Zazawa. Zazawa. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Let's look at the newspaper headlines. www.standardmedia.co.ke. This is called what? The Standard Insider. And what does it do? It gives you good content, serving to you the way you like your content served. And so, if you go to www.standardmedia.co.ke, please subscribe to for the Standard Insider, a monthly rate of 190 shillings. And there you save. You've been given a discount of a discount of 100 bob. Sawa, please. What's on the front pages?
On the front page of the Standard today, Ruto is in the eye of a storm over the law change plan. Did you know there was that thing?
Which thing?
Okay, I'm going to give you the details of that right now. Actually, not right now, after we do the thing. But just know that Ruto is in the eye of a storm, okay? Now, Senate is to be recalled on Kawira ouster. That's going to be interesting as well. The US has pledged $55 billion for projects in Africa. And Morocco made a World Cup statement. The Atlas Lions made a statement they did, so we're being told. Kanu goes soul searching and suspends Secretary Salat. Hi, gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Telling you, it's not small, Allah. Ruto's gift to Raila hits turbulence. This is what's on the front page of the Nation. And, yeah. The state waives import duty on maize, rice to avert a food crisis. I thought the crisis was already here, but okay. On the back page of the Nation, what are we seeing? Teachers are demanding 60% pay rise. It looks like it's going to be a bit of a problem with the state because now the teachers' pay demand sets stage for a clash with the state. It's not going to take it lying down. They asked you to be reasonable. You said never. We want 60% or nothing. State says, seeing as we are the ones who are paying you and we're telling you that there's no money, this come and sit down, let's talk, will now be, I'll put you in your place. But we'll talk about that story later. KQ is the biggest beneficiary of a 700 million shilling waiver for airlines and concessionaires. That's what it looks like on those two headlines.
City?
Yes, please.
You have the Star?
I do. Do I have the Business Daily? I do.
Well done.
Do I have the
East African?
I do.
Why stop short one day?
Okay. Let's start with the Business Daily, shall we?
Okay.
Let's.
KRA in dilemma. Imagine that. KRA are in a dilemma. Guess what they're in a dilemma over? Well, they're in a dilemma over Ruto directive on seizing property. President asks KRA to stop disabling business. Analysts laud move, but say could abate evasion. This one is an interesting story. Then bottom, just below that, that's what I'm referring to as bottom.
Okay.
Kenya drops in ranking of Africa visa-friendly states.
Why?
Okay.
Who's ranking us?
This one. We are being ranked
By the rankers.
No. This one is called the 2020 Africa Visa Openness Index.
By who?
See, I've just told you.
Yeah, it's an index. Who's doing the index?
See them. You didn't hear me mention Visa? Or you think Visa was just visiting by chance?
Is it Visa the organization, or are we talking about Visa?
Visa for traveling.
Visa for traveling.
No. Visa ile ya pesa.
Oh. Neo.
Yes.
So you've dropped in what?
Okay, let me start again.
Yes.
Okay?
Please.
Kenya slid further in the latest Africa visa-friendly ranking, indicating increased difficulty for business people and holiday makers for the rest of Africa to visit the country.
Oh, visit.
So visit.
So visa,
Ni visa yawe kuingia. Yes. The other one was my personal interpretation.
It's not a bad one. It's okay. It's okay, City. Don't worry. Higher, the Star?
Star? Here. Right. Ruto team spells brutal cash cuts for state agencies. Radical. No salary hike without express approval from Treasury.
What's new?
Yeah, I don't know, but this is what they've said.
Okay.
And then on the left, small, but also
big.
The front page. No, this one is big. Inside, 5 billion shilling debt, 3 billion stalled projects. Guess where? Mombasa.
What?
Yes. So some 8 billion here just hangs in a balance.
Debt of how much?
5 billion.
Why?
It's only 5.2 billion.
Why? Don't.
That's Deni. They haven't paid this, they haven't paid this. And then...
Na wanakula nyama kila siku.
Stall projects kabisa. Yes. So, essentially for you to owe, it means something was done, some value was added, and you're supposed to pay for that value.
And you did not.
And for that debt to, it means you didn't pay for it. And yet you had the money to pay for it. Unless you can prove you didn't have the money to pay for it, which also means you were not given the money to pay for it. But as I recall, money was given on more than one occasion for this specific function, repaying people for what was owed to them.
Shame.
You and your,
Hi, it's 6:30. Shall we take a break so we can look at the newspaper headlines nicely now after the traffic?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do that. And we'll also be telling you today about the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra with S Pen. And the Samsung, what are your buds called?
Buds Pro 2 Pro.
All right, the Bud 2 Pro. And your watch is called what? The Watch 5 Pro. And what else? The Z Flip 4.
Yeah.
All those things. We'll be talking about them today. Again, and reminding you about them. Why is it like...
Have you mentioned the tab?
Yes, CT. We did.
How many times?
We mentioned the tab. My goodness.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The man who looks at a beautiful girl and doesn't talk to her will end up serving lunch at her wedding.
Hiya, City. Do like that.
My father has killed a mouse. Will he fail to kill a man?
Ameua panya.
Small
Mtu
mammal,
atamshinda.
big mammal.
Mtu atamshinda. I mean, I don't answer. What are they
How
saying?
are we comparison? I mean, you kill a mouse.
What are they-
Said, excuse me? Said yes. My name is I believe. So what's the full name? I believe in the goodness of the
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Okay. Looking at different parts of the city, we have some traffic coming off Thika Superhighway. A little bit of it on Jogo Road. It's going to seep onto Landis. It's already doing that. And Kamkuji, it's like every day. And so then our Christmas season is just like Kamkunji 3.0 Ultra. My goodness. Traffic in and outbound, then going towards Haile Selassie. There's some traffic coming off from Gongoro, and it's already doing that at about 6:30 this morning. Started much earlier. Jogo Road, some traffic right around the train station. We have some coming off Lunga Lunga and Likoni as well. Outer Ring looks pretty good. You're going to bump off onto the Thika Superhighway, and then going towards Pangani is where we'll see some traffic. Other than that, it looks fine. Hey, guys, you use Kiambu Road. Now is the time. There's nobody there. Use it now, so that before they come, you'll be okay. Okay? SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Let's talk there.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Done right. 94.4 Spice
All right,
FM,
it's
Nairobi.
minutes to 7. Eh, no.
Sindero?
Where do you wear your watch on the right hand? Right arm. It should be on the left.
Hand is the key thing here.
Bora iko kwa wristwatch.
Hapo ni hapo.
Hakuna left wristwatch.
Have you ever come across people who have two watches?
Yes.
Yes. Quite a number.
I've wondered about that myself.
Strangest thing. But hey.
I think it's not a watch to them.
It's an accessory.
It's an accessory. Look at the value of the store or the rock.
Dial. I used to wear my watch on my left hand.
And then
I switched.
to
I
right.
do not know why.
Yeah. Okay.
I think both the hands had public participation.
They said, how about we switch for some time? You never
Now,
know.
have you seen the people who have a watch like the one we're wearing, the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5? So you connect it to your phone. If a message comes, it also you can read it on your phone.
On your phone.
If a call is coming, you can also actually receive on your phone, and you can see who's calling.
Yes.
Now, somebody is sitting there. They have the phone on one hand, and the phone rings, and then, of course, the arm vibrates. So you'll see them looking at the watch to see who's calling.
And they have the phone.
And then they
right
pick the
there.
phone.
Watu wa Muhoroni.
Where's the problem?
It's maximizing use, you know. Yeah. So you first of all look at your watch and see who's calling and decide I'm gonna pick this one. Then you go for the phone and you pick the call.
Yeah.
Sheesh. Hiya, tell us about Ruto's dilemma.
Eye in a storm.
Yeah.
All right. The Law Society of Kenya has joined politicians in saying that President Ruto is breaching the law in pushing for amendments to the Constitution and urges Kenyans to resist the move. According to Eric Theuri, who is LSK president, the amendments, if pursued by way of the president's proposition, the sovereignty of the people of Kenya would be undermined. Bill Okero, former Mandera senator, said, "What is the mischief to be cured by this proposed bill? Stop the opposition from going to the streets and being confrontational? That's a question." William Ruto says the purpose of this letter is to request that Parliament considers all policy measures to actualize the promise of our Constitution. Page 6 gives a little more detail into the story, and it says, excuse me, The LSK has criticised President William Ruto's push to amend the constitution, terming the move unconstitutional and a bid to revive the rejected BBI route. Speaking yesterday in Nairobi, Eric Theuri called on the National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula and the MPs to block the proposal made by the president, saying changing the constitution is not a priority for Kenyans when they are battling the high cost of living and famine. Theuri accused Ruto of reintroducing the BBI and the Supreme Court, which the Supreme Court declared unconstitutional. The amendments are being initiated by the president, contrary to the decision of the BBI case, and therefore they should not see the light of day in Parliament, there being a very clear precedent set by the court. The memorandum dated December 9th and addressed to the speakers of both houses. Ruto proposed amendments to the constitution. He proposed that Parliament amends Chapter 9 to institute the office of the official leader of the opposition and have functions of the office provided by subsequent laws enacted by the National Assembly. He said, I hold the firm belief that as president, I can and indeed must engage authorized entities like Parliament. Accordingly, the purpose of this letter is to request that Parliament considers all policy measures necessary and sufficient to actualize the promise of our Constitution. And if I can look at what the Nation, the same story, but the Nation says President Ruto's plan to create a powerful office for Azimio's Chief Odinga has run into headwinds, with lawyers accusing the head of state of contravening the Constitution and walking on the same path that the BBI has thrown out. So it was saying that it was throwing, shade, yes, to this. It looked as though also that the president was trying to, throw Raila Odinga a bone of good hope, of good... an olive branch maybe, and say, let's work together. But now they're coming out and saying, no, stop it. The amendments
LSK is basically saying that the BBI was thrown out because it was initiated by the president. One of the reasons.
Yes.
It was initiated by the president.
Yes.
And the president cannot initiate a popular initiative.
Yes.
Is Ruto initiating a popular initiative?
He's asking Parliament to
he
basically
is.
He is.
He's not. A popular initiative does not go through Parliament.
He's asking Parliament to come out and make these amendments in order to create this office. That's what he's asking.
Yeah, that's not a popular initiative. There are two ways of amending the Constitution.
Maybe it's populist.
Is it populist?
It's populist. Maybe it's not a popular initiative.
Is it popular by the people, or is it a popular initiative as envisaged in the Constitution?
Exactly. Or by the majority that he enjoys in Parliament.
Because look, how are laws? How does Parliament make law? Parliament makes law by the majority side of Parliament or minority, anybody, a member of Parliament, initiating a bill.
Yes.
Or a bill being suggested by government and it comes through Parliament. Sindio? Sasa, if the same thing is happening, if a president has written and is saying, these are just my thoughts are this and the other, and I urge you to consider, is that the president initiating an amendment, or is that the president suggesting to Parliament?
He's suggesting to Parliament, of course. Look, neither is the man. He's not, he's clever, because he knows very well that he cannot come out and say, this is my suggestion. So he would suggest it in any one way to Parliament, who would then bear the responsibility. So I can understand where CT is coming from when he says it is a popular initiative, because the truth of the matter is that he does, he does enjoy a majority significantly.
That is not a popular initiative. Amendment by popular initiative, Article 257 of the Constitution. A popular initiative for amendment to this Constitution is in the form of a general suggestion or a formulated draft. Is in the
general suggestion.
At least 1 million registered voters.
Yes.
Promoters of a popular initiative deliver the draft and the supporting signatures to IBC, verifies, and all that.
Got it.
It starts with the people. It's like Punguza Mizigo of a
going
Kuru
around getting
court.
signatures, yes.
That's a popular initiative. It's 1 million people initiating an amendment to the Constitution.
Like what Professor Ogola is doing at the moment.
Another one,
Yes.
He's raising another popular initiative to make sure that Rigathi Gachagua is barred from running after 2020.
Among other things.
Among other things.
Me, I thought it was just, this hustler fund.
Oh, there's a lot more in that basket.
Man, this thing has actually now...
It's grown feet.
It's grown feet.
A basket. It's become a marketplace.
Higher. Listen, the other way of amending the Constitution is parliamentary initiative. A bill to amend the Constitution may be introduced in either House of Parliament. It may not address any other matter apart from consequential amendments to legislation arising from the bill. So, Parliament publicizes the bill to amend the Constitution, facilitates public discussion about the bill. It passes a bill to amend the Constitution. The speakers of the two houses of Parliament jointly submit to the President. If it touches on any of the parts that require referendum, it goes to referendum. If it doesn't, President assents to it as law. So a bill is introduced to Parliament. Has Ruto introduced the bill to Parliament?
Yes.
He's made a suggestion to Parliament.
That's not a bill.
Yeah, it's not a bill.
He's
made
been
a suggestion.
introduced.
It's a petition.
I think the inference here is subjective, okay? That because of the majority that he then does enjoy, that he's made a suggestion and that the likelihood of Parliament then going ahead with it is high because of this majority that he enjoys within the National Assembly. It's subjective inference, but it exists.
You know what? Ruto does not enjoy an absolute majority.
No, he doesn't.
In the House.
No, he doesn't.
A constitutional amendment will require an absolute majority in the House. You need 2/3 of MPs to vote for it. So he's not using anything.
He has 2/3.
The only way
if he doesn't have, he will get 2/3.
He'll get 2/3.
Yes.
So are we saying, the question here is the only way that the office of the official opposition can be created is by amending the Constitution?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So if the Constitution must be amended to have this happen, and we already have everybody flying all over the place saying that this and this and this and this, the likelihood of them not creating this office then is high. And then he would come back and say, well, I wanted to do this.
But is it possible?
I tried. It didn't work because of you.
Is it possible for the Parliamentary Service Commission to create an office?
Can they? That's why I asked, is it the only way through which an office of the opposition can be created? Must you amend the Constitution to have this done?
Well, if he sits in the House, then it has to be a constitutional amendment. But you see, we can have within the precincts of Parliament an office there where he does not enter the chamber, but ako hapo na ofisi na ako na pesa na ako na gari. And he sits up there watching people.
By executive order.
So the fear, unspoken or otherwise, by all of these other parties who are speaking up today, is that once you open the door, then there is no telling what else you will be able to do when it comes to the Constitution being amended. You do it today for the office of the official opposition. You do it tomorrow for something else. Before you know, you will be changing the Constitution everywhere.
With our Parliament,
that's the fear.
What you raise is pertinent, but with our Parliament, even as this bill is brought to Parliament,
if it will be
brought, what will happen is some other bills will be sneaked in.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, the constitutional amendment, you have to take advantage of everything. You don't want to keep taking people to another constitutional amendment in another 5 years. So lump everything
like
together.
Supplementary budget.
76 amendments to the Constitution.
Inside.
Yep. And some of them, you have no clue.
What do they mean?
Until the day you're told it's
that's
the law.
That thing you signed, that's what it was for.
When did, precisely.
Yeah.
The thing is this, let's not forget that what is being suggested is actually a good thing. A constituted office, a constitutional office of the opposition, it's something we should have had a long time ago. Yes. So that, remember when we had Bill Okero here?
Yes.
And he said, the way this thing ought to work, when you have an opposition, it means you have a shadow cabinet. You have a shadow everything. Meaning, should these fellows falter, you already have in place a set of organized individuals who can actually take over those functions. But in addition to that, when it comes to providing good oversight, which is what the opposition also does, for every ministry, for every department, there's somebody in the opposition whose task is just that.
Yeah.
Now, that is good oversight. So, even as this thing is discussed back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, okay? I consider this, it's in the same vehicle as the CDF. I've heard the arguments. I personally believe the CDF is a good thing. Personally.
You, mwenyewe.
Yes, mimi mwenyewe. Constitutional, unconstitutional, county, whatever. Those legal arguments. It is a good thing. If you see what it has done, where people have actually chosen to use it for what it's supposed to be, you cannot say that this thing should be given to the county government. You should just leave it exactly where it is. If it's a problem, find a way of making it okay. My view.
Good view. Hold it and keep it.
Niweke kwa draw.
Fungia mahali, tutakuita.
Siku yake ikifika.
Tutakuongelesha. Now that we're talking about bills, the National Assembly has taken up a full-page advert to ask for public participation and submission of memoranda on something that we usually called the Omnibus Bill. The Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendment Bill of the National Assembly, number 60 of 2022, sponsored by Kimani Ichung'wah, the majority leader of the National Assembly, seeks to amend several pieces of legislation. How many of them? 58 pieces of legislation. Akamoja here, akamoja there, akamoja here. Some notable ones is they're seeking to amend the Judicature Act. This bill proposes to amend the Act to increase the number of judges of the Court of Appeal from 30 to 70. Okay? Already the Court of Appeal, I think it's almost nearing that capacity of 30 with the judges that have been appointed so far, with the recent appointments actually of judges. But like we've heard before, those judges are usually not enough. So it's seeking now to increase the number of Court of Appeal judges level to 70. So then you have more judges sitting in that court. No, you know.
I'm waiting for the others because for that carrot to be offered, there must be something else. The other things that they want? Because that's a carrot, definitely. Go on.
No, it works well.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
The other one is the Public Holidays Act, which wants to say that 10th of October will be known as Huduma Day by law. 26th of December will be known as Utamaduni Day by law. Remove the whole confusion of which one is Utamaduni, which one is Huduma, which one is, I don't know, Peana.
So they've added 2 more holidays.
No, they were there already, CT. They were already there. It's just the names now, what they will be officially known
There's
by.
a public holiday in
October
September.
10th used to be December, Daddy. December 26th.
Boxing Day.
Boxing Day. Sasa itakuwa Utamaduni Day. Utamaduni Day.
Right.
You see it, eh?
Yes.
You see it? Higher. Another one. The Copyright Act. This bill seeks to amend the Act to provide for the equitable remuneration of performers and producers of sound recordings and expand the responsibilities of collective management organizations towards authors and performers. So basically, the law is seeking to recognize, artists have been pushing for this.
Yeah.
KJ has been in parliament with this. Remember, Kina Eric Omondi holding protests and vigils outside parliament, pushing for some amendment to the law. It's coming in. Here they're saying, so have equitable remuneration for all and others. I saw one that is called the Energy Act. The bill proposes to amend the Act to give effect to the recommendations of the Presidential Task Force on the review of power purchase agreements. The recommendations include addressing the overlapping functions between the Energy Petroleum Regulatory Authority and the ministry responsible. So finally, that one is coming to pass. The other one is the Scrap Metal Act, which is saying that disposal of scrap metal from critical infrastructure shall be restricted only to 2 institutions, the Numerical Machining Complex and the Kenya Shipyard Limited. So don't go collecting nini from railways and say you are a scrap metal dealer and you're found with stuff from railways, critical infrastructure, pylons, power pylons. Remember the way power pylons were found somewhere? So all that comes in there anyways, and very many other things. No, there's an interesting one. There's the Leadership and Integrity Act. They want to amend that act to allow the EACC to verify suitability of candidates seeking public service appointments and make recommendations. You want to work in the public service? Get clearance from EACC. As if it will make a difference.
That's what I was about to ask you. Did they also need to get clearance from the ACC to run for elective office? How much good did that do?
How many, that particular bill that Mheshimiwa Shungo wants to bring, is supposed to bring, thinking of bringing, how many amendments is it?
58.
I'm going to look into the details of those things. By the time the judiciary is being offered that sweetener.
Kuna kiru?
Of course there is. Because the people who can put a halt to that process is the judiciary.
Okay.
Hi, tell us another story.
60%, remember?
For teachers.
Teachers wanted 60%. Government said, what? 60% increase, as in on what they're already earning. They want a 60% of that.
But this thing is a bit convoluted because there were promises that were made that were never fulfilled.
2017, 2022 CBA.
So we're scrapping all that and just coming up with 60%.
No.
The CBA has come to an end.
CBA
now they're negotiating a new one.
Now they're negotiating for the next,
Was that former CBA fulfilled?
Not completely.
So
one of the things
that's what I'm asking. So they're scrapping that one and starting a new one.
Well, so now what they're doing is that they're taking the dregs of the former CBA and they're combining it with what they hope to happen in the next 5 years. And voila, Bob's your uncle, 60%. Teachers have made a raft of demands as the year comes to an end, setting the stage for potential clash with the government in the new year. How about now? Why don't we just start the new year in peace? But okay. The demands are contained in the resolutions of the 62nd Annual Delegates Conference of the Kenya National Union of Teachers, which was held in Kisumu City. Top of the list is a renegotiation of their collective bargaining agreement to give teachers across the board a 60% pay increment. The demand is anchored on the argument that their current pay does not factor in the rise in inflation over 6 years and the high cost of living. Teachers' unions and the Teacher Service Commission are set to hold talks in January to reevaluate the 2021 to 2025 CBA. If they have their way, the increment would see the highest paid teacher at grade D5 take home 252,000, up from 157, while the lowest paid would earn 43, up from 27. According to the Kenya National Union of Teachers Secretary General Collins Oyu, teachers' pay was last reviewed in the 2016-2017 financial year. The union draws most of its membership from P1 teachers who are in job grade B5. In July 2021, teacher union signed a non-monetary CBA with the TSC. Remember what that was? It will give you leave, paternity leave, such things. However, there was an agreement that one would revisit the CBA after 1 year. Teachers have not been compensated for a rise in the cost of living since July 1st, 2017. However, the government has termed the fresh demands by the teachers as what? Unrealistic. According to CS Ezekiel Machogu, I am informed that you have already raised concerns about inflation and your 2021-2025 CBA, which did not have a monetary component. I call upon your leaders to be realistic in reading the signs of the day, consult widely, and ensure that all deliberations have the learner's interests at heart. So it's not about you, it's not about us, it's about who? It's about the learners. Those are the ones people should be thinking about. So you're coming and telling us 60%. It's not going to happen.
Our customer is the learner.
Our customer is who is important. He's also gone on to say that those are the interests that we will have at heart.
Those are all stories anyway. They will not get 60. It's good to start at 60 so that they land at 40.
It's good to start so they land somewhere, Abi.
All right.
Okay. TSC Legal and Industrial Relations Director Calvin Anur had a difficult time explaining the situation to the charged delegates. So now they had become angry small. The demand for a meeting that has been granted in the new year, and we shall engage. We shall engage. You know that language they use. Don't worry, we shall engage. But even as we do so, let us allow our learners to continue being in class. So if you are thinking about industrial action, please don't think about it. In other words, that's when they say, let's encourage our learners to be in class. That's essentially what they mean.
Extend goodwill.
Thank you very much. The Secretary General of the Kenyan Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, Akelo Misori, who was also among the guests of the conference, vowed to work with the teachers union to push for better work condition for teachers. We are not slaves.
But that's interesting. So
they're now working together. Remember,
the leader of the rival union was invited to this meeting.
Yes, he was a guest.
Wow.
Okay. And he said, Misori said, we are not slaves and we will not work for free. How do we keep cool when the inflation rate is high? For sure, 2023 is not going to be easy for the president. and his government.
Do these people realize that what they're doing is actually raising inflation even higher? You see, you're given a 60% rise. Now, that 60%, what is the value of that 60%? What will it buy you?
You'll be able to buy more.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You see, this discussion in my mind has been false for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
The push should be, how do you ensure that goods and services in this country are aplenty so that the price is pushed down. So whatever you have, you are able to get more of the same.
Sawa, you see, that's not your job as a union. Your job as a union is not to manage the economy.
No.
Your job as a union is to make sure that you are able to afford to buy today.
They're lying.
And afford yourself
They
today.
are lying.
Now, those who that they're negotiating with, the TSC, should then go to government. Those in government should then look at, no. How do we make the cost of living affordable so that we don't have to? But inflation adjustment is always there, City.
No. I am saying it shouldn't be there the way it is. This is what I'm trying to explain. That this idea of always pushing for more salaries. What value do
if you don't
really
do that,
increase?
But if you don't do that, right? The thing is, your shilling has lots of value in terms of how much you can put in your basket.
I am saying the discussion that the union should be having with their teachers is how to increase value. A higher salary is not a higher value.
So how do you have that conversation among yourselves? So you've called teachers to and tell them...
Am I in a union?
You speak as if you should be. How would you say? So teachers, we've come here. So I think what we should tell the government is to look at the macro and microeconomics and do this and the other. So that our salary can afford us.
No.
No.
That isn't it. Teachers are formidable. The unions are formidable unions. Okay?
And they have representation even in parliament.
They do. And this is where this is the one industry that is responsible for bringing up the so-called future citizens of this country and the future leaders of this country. Okay? The discussion here is more money. And I'm saying it is a false discussion because more money doesn't translate into more value. I am saying that what it does is when there is a lot of money chasing few goods, what you are doing is you are going to raise the price of whatever it is that these people are supposed to purchase with the money that they have. My argument is not a complicated one. That is really what I am saying. That's it.
So people should not be getting pay rises.
No, pay rises are not the solution.
Because if you give people pay rises, you are basically increasing
pay rises.
the cost of living.
You are. Pay rises are not the solution. That's what I'm saying.
Solution?
The solution is to ensure...
Never discuss a pay rise.
You know this union person on my immediate right?
This union.
Kenya union.
Hey, bwana, unachoma bwana city.
Kenya union of the situation.
They don't discuss a pay rise. What do you mean?
No. The discussion should be how do we get to a position where goods and services in this country, I'm repeating, are aplenty so that they are affordable. That's really it. Giving someone more money does not make it affordable. All you do is you keep playing up. Remember,
why can't we do both?
You can't actually.
Why not?
It doesn't help.
So
Make
already,
it affordable at the same time. We want more money,
without more money, it's becoming unaffordable.
It's already unaffordable.
Increase the shilling so that at least it can afford.
Eric, it's still unaffordable. With all the increase we've had over the years, the shilling just keeps buying less and less and less and less. This is not rocket science. Anyone can figure it out. The only thing smart business people do, the price remains the same. The quantity is lessened.
No pay rises.
No pay rises. Make unga cheaper.
Yes.
And house rent.
Yes. The moment teachers get a salary increase, where they pay rent, guys will also raise. I mean, everything just keeps being pushed up and up and up.
Okay.
Wait, we're going to buy a loaf of bread with a wheelbarrow full of money.
We're buying unga 200 bob because MPs got a pay rise. It's 7 a.m. You're supposed to say 7 shillings.
at a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is News. I'm Dennis Aseto. President William Ruto has called on the U.S. to review its economic partnership with Africa, saying Africa must be regarded as an investment destination and not a trade destination market for manufactured goods. The president, who was addressing the U.S.-Africa Summit on the future of Africa's trade and investment, called on the U.S. to take advantage of Africa's huge population, the prospects under the African Continental Free Trade Area, which is on the cusp of taking off, and availability of labor and green energy potential in Africa to drive prosperity on a global scale. President Ruto also used the opportunity to position Kenya as one of the most favorable investment destinations for the abundant U.S. capital, attributing its competitive advantage to manufacturing and maturing constitutional democracy and well-developed financial and commercial ecosystem.
I invite U.S. tech firms to pursue the emerging investment prospects in the Silicon Suburb in Konza. There are many lessons we can all draw from Silicon Valley and the Research Triangle, which will make Konza City a success story. I also invite you to take advantage of the opportunity present in Kenya's plan for digital superhighway, paperless and digital government, and the establishment of the robust data hubs as our country continues to strengthen our position as the technology gateway to the larger Eastern and Central Africa region.
This is US-based billionaire and founder of Mwale Medical and Technological City in Kenya, rooted for increased investments in Africa. Mwale met 19 African presidents who attended the forum convened by President Joe Biden, called for sustained efforts to tap into investment opportunities across the continent. The Kenya Kwanza government will partner with the private sector in keeping its promise to provide employment opportunities for the millions of youth around the country who are currently unemployed. Speaking in Nairobi, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua retweeted that one of the main agenda in the government's economic transformation plan was job creation.
Dear young people, the government remains steadfast to invest in the digital technology as a sure path to our job creation agenda as promised. By the year 2030, research has shown that over 230 million new jobs will be created in sub-Saharan Africa. However, these jobs require ICT skills. It is also important to note that an estimated $130 million investment opportunity lies in digital skills cultivation in Africa. During this period, 50 to 55% of jobs in Kenya will depend on digital skills, and this is an open check to you, our young people. This partnership to train 10,000 Kenyans a year will strengthen digital skills for online jobs.
And the fate of embattled Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza now lies with the Senate after MCA's passed a vote of no confidence against her. The Senate is now set to hold its special sitting next week to consider the ouster motion after Speaker Amason King received correspondence of the particulars against Mwangaza. King is expected to convene a meeting of the Senate to hear charges against the governor. The Senate, by resolution, may appoint a special committee comprising 11 of its members to investigate the matter. According to the correspondence by Meru County Assembly Ayub Solomon, the governor is accused by MCAs of gross violation of the constitution and subsidiary laws. Nakuru Secretary General Nick Salat has fired back at his boss Gideon Moi over a decision to suspend him as the party's Secretary General. Salat said Moi has no mandate to suspend him from the party, and I quote, "If there is anyone to leave Kanu, then it is Moi and not me." This as Kanu's National Executive Council suspended Salat over several complaints on his conduct and violation of the party constitution. Party chairperson Gideon Moi said Salat will appear before the disciplinary committee, where the proceedings are expected to be heard and determined within 30 days. And the International Criminal Court threw out an appeal by Dominic Ongwen, a Ugandan child soldier turned commander in the Lord's Resistance Army, against his conviction and 25-year sentence for war crimes. Dominic Ongwen, who was himself abducted aged 9 by the rebel group led by the fugitive Joseph Kony, was found guilty last year of murder, rape and sexual enslavement in northern Uganda during the early 2000s. Dressed in a dark suit and tie, Ongwen briefly waved to the public gallery, but otherwise remained impassive as he listened through headphones to the judgment. Appeals judges said that although Ongwen had been kidnapped as a defenseless child, it did not mitigate his guilt. They also rejected his argument about mental illness and said he had a key role in LRA atrocities as an adult. This is News. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4. get to see the world through a new lens and capture the moments that truly matter.
Spice FM, Nakuru.
Right, so this is time we see some traffic going out towards North Airport Road and then spilling over to Outer Ring. Southern Bypass looks pretty good. There's an option to get into the city. Jogger Road, then on to Landis Road. Landis Road not doing so badly right now until you get to that junction going towards Kamkunji. And then it's spilling over to Haile Selassie. Haile Selassie now trying to go out towards Kamkunji, leaving the city. That's an absolute mess. So maybe a longer route to get there and avoid this. Kangunda Road then touching on Outer Ring. And we see some traffic building up on the Thika Superhighway. Nothing too terrible though. A week from now, the KCSE exams would have ended and more students then going home. Also looking at Kiambu Road, a little bit of traffic here and there, and coming out of Westlands, not too chock-blocked. Hopefully we can keep it that way through the morning. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Let's talk and keep things moving.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Good morning and how are you doing? Welcome to the second hour of The Situation Room. We're now live on Spice FM and KTN News. It's the 16th day of December 2022. We have a guest in the studio who is from the Digital Financial Services Association of Kenya. As we welcome him, we'll be telling him about all the gadgets that we have with us in the studio. Abu, are you still wearing your watch nicely?
No, I took it off.
Why?
Because I wanted to look at it there in all its glory. I'll put it on later. Okay. It's just there looking at me. It's about to speak.
Okay.
No, actually, I like the way you look at things. Even I didn't put on my tab. I've just put it in front of me to look at.
You can't just allow somebody to be great.
I thought I was augmenting what you just said. Oh, I did. That's not
you
what
not
I
put
achieved.
on your tab.
You just have it in front of you.
Yes.
Yeah, just like she's doing in her Samsung Galaxy Watch 5. Just have it in front of you. Don't wear it yet. Right? Just have it there.
At it first.
Look at it. Hold
ECG.
it.
Record your ECG on your watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kabisa.
Telling
ECG
you.
ni nini?
Hizo vitu za
roho.
Roho.
The doof.
The doof.
Na ile electricity ambayo inatembea kwa mwili. You know, body iko na electricity. Inatembea inapima.
So you can tell whether you're a well-grounded person.
Watch. That watch can tell sleeping patterns.
And many other things.
See?
Many other things.
Many other things.
Bas. Especially coming from the heart.
yes.
The secrets of the heart. That's what I want to have it on. Tasoboa Siri. City.
Yes, please.
Okay, from the thing that you are holding.
Yes.
The Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra.
Thank you so
with
much.
the S Pen. Let's see that S Pen, by the way.
Well, let me just show you the tip of it. Tiding, tadang, tudung, tiding, tiding. What?
Bas, the S Pen.
Okay.
By the way, the tab comes with the S Pen. You don't go and look for the S Pen. It comes with the S Pen. Now, I keep saying this, and it may sound, because I say it with a cheery voice, that I am trying to be humorous. No, it's not humor. You can squiggle away with that illegible handwriting of yours, okay? This particular companion then transform that into something that is in print form. If that isn't magic, what is?
Bas.
Enough of
we will be having a cardiologist in the studio at 9.
That guy has good handwriting.
Okay. You'll give him that thing, let's try. And then also,
see.
he'll wear the hat.
On his sleeve.
On his sleeve. Tell us the day's proverb, City.
Right. This is the last proverb from the country of Equatorial Guinea.
Okay.
Not Guinea, not Guinea-Bissau, not Papua New Guinea. Equatorial
Guinea.
Thank you very much. Wherever a man goes to dwell, his character goes with him.
Wherever a man goes to dwell, his character goes with him. All right.
It's not something you leave behind.
Yeah.
Say, look, today I'm not really up to it. I left my character at home.
It's just me. Today's just me.
I came alone. Came out of the company.
Yes.
Kevin Mutiso is the chairman of the Digital Financial Services Association of Kenya. Kevin, good morning.
Good morning. How have you been?
You can still say Asante. Very nice. Very nice.
Very nice. Please and thank you. Such things. It's okay.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Welcome to the hot
me.
seat again. We heard you. The last time we heard you was what? Last year, but one.
No, it was. I think it was around a year and a half. About a year and a half ago, we're discussing the regulations that were coming, and everyone was nervous.
Yes,
including me.
The regulations have now been in effect since December 2021, right?
So
2020.
The way we ended up having the regulations is that we got a 6-month window to comply. So March 17th was date 1. September 17th was the final cutoff date. And now we're waiting for our licenses.
So who is we?
We is the digital credit providers. Her rumor has it that about 400 applicants submitted for the license. And according to the CBK in September, 288 companies applied for the license. So that's
288 companies that applied for the license.
Yes.
How many, are those all your members?
No, we represent the sort of the biggest lenders in the game. So we have about 35 members now. We lend about 10 billion shillings a month as a membership. To about, and it's grown since I was last year, to about 6 to 8 million customers every month.
10 billion shillings a month?
Yes.
Like every new month, there's a 10 billion shilling that you lent out to the customers?
Yes.
6 to 8, how many?
6 to 8 million borrowers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Last time I was here was 4 to 6.
That is huge.
Yeah.
So then there was a call for regulation.
Yes.
So you can be under the ambit of a regulator.
Yes.
And in this case, the Central Bank of Kenya.
Yes.
Now, if you represent 35 and you're saying like 200 had applied, explain to me this business. Because have you heard of 200 digital lenders?
Where are they?
200.
There are 200 of them.
Kwanza now
digital lenders now, what are we talking about? Folks that
Yes.
you get onto an app and you say, okay, like, I fill in the thing and then you borrow 1,000 shillings, or digital meaning that you apply online with your documents. What are we talking about here?
Or
exactly?
even a bank that has a digital app.
Thank you very much.
No.
What are we talking about exactly?
So according to the central bank, a digital lender, what they're calling now a digital credit provider, is anyone who uses a digital piece in the whole loan giving process. So if you have a manual process for KYC and scoring, but you disburse by M-Pesa, you're still considered a DCP.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
These acronyms,
So
as nice as they sound.
Digital credit provider.
Thank you.
DCP.
We just keep writing them.
Yeah.
So DCP, DLLMM, CBK,
KYP.
KYP, KYC.
Oh, sorry.
KYC. Know your customer.
KYC.
Okay. So, because when we hear digital lender, the obvious thing that comes to mind is that it's an app on your phone, and then that's how you're getting the little amounts here and there. So that's why it boggled my mind. If we're talking about 10 billion, is it actually possible to have your, not to name them, but have your little app, whatever? So we're actually saying, even if it's somebody who's seated in an office somewhere, so long as they then disperse the loan to whomever
Using a digital means.
digital means, that is considered a digital lender.
Yes.
So then it makes sense that there could be 200, Eric.
This means also the commercial banks that have digital apps.
They're licensed under the Banking Act, so they are exempted from being a digital credit provider.
Then I still don't see the 200 though.
No, me, I see even more. If I go by Ndu's definition of a digital lender, if I have money in my M-Pesa and I lend you, I've become a digital lender.
Lord in heaven.
Well, if you do it under a
the
company.
Under a company.
Yes.
Okay. So with all this business that your members have been doing, and this is just the members that are under the Digital Financial Services Association of Kenya, this is some huge business. Where do you get the money from to lend?
So we get private capital. So we go to capital markets, we raise money, we go to banks, they give us loans. We go to what is known as a wholesale lender. You know, sometimes if you have a retail shop, you buy milk from a wholesaler, then you retail it. So money has the same sort of supply chain or value chain. The wholesale lenders who give you blocks amount of capital, then we retail it out.
Give us examples of wholesale lenders.
People like Lendable. These are companies that, have actually created a business model where they analyze lending models and give money to these lending companies. There's another one called Finclusion. There's another one called Safi Ventures.
So they have a lot of money,
Yes.
and then they give you as now the outlets.
Yes.
And you on lend to customers.
Yes.
You pay them back at their own interest.
Yes.
We pay you at an interest.
Yes.
Brings in the conversation sharks, predators, predatory lenders, that you're actually just scamming us of all the money that we have made by giving us loans and then charging us 700% per annum. Respond to that. I'm sure you've had this very many times.
So what I like saying is that there's two parts of the market. There are those of us called mission-driven fintechs, where our objective is to solve a financial inclusion problem. You know, now Kenya is one of the most financially included markets, but 10 years ago, majority of adults did not have access to credit at all. Now, the other side of the market are these bad actors, and that's why we actually formed the association, because we needed to differentiate ourselves because of their bad behavior. I'm sure you remember the horror stories of debt collection in Kenya.
Yep.
I'm hoping the Kenyans have now realized that noise has come down, and we can commend, the central bank for their good work and the data commissioner's office for the work they've done. But that's the way the market is. You've got the Shylocks, who are not us, and then you've got us mission-driven fintechs who want to solve for financial inclusion. Yeah.
So the Shylocks are the ones that are charging those exorbitant fees?
Yes.
You don't?
No, we don't.
What's the average kind of interest rate among your members?
I think now we're maybe at 10% a month, between 7.5 and 10% per month. And I know you want to say that's exorbitant, but if you think about the trading cycle of an informal sector entrepreneur, the margin that they make is more than able to cover this financing. And then I always try and use the analogy of a hotel and a rental unit. If you have a house in Karen that is 300,000 a month, and you have a hotel room that's charging $100 a month, if you stay 30 days in that hotel room, which is the size of a little box, it equals the same. It's 300,000 a month.
Yeah.
So let's not compare a tenured loan that's 1 year, 10 years with a 30-day loan or a 7-day loan or a 14-day loan, because those are two different things fundamentally.
I agree, but there's also the little detail about security and the risk factor that institutions such as the one you represent have.
Of course.
Because you're exposed, really.
No, we are. We are using data to determine if you're creditworthy, whereas the collateralized lenders are saying, if you have, I'll give you 80% of the value of your property. That's a very different equation.
That's what they say.
So, Kevin, using data obviously to lend, but then are you using data also to make decisions on how to lend? Who are then the people who are borrowing? Is it just anybody, run of the mill, somebody who needs, quick, out of trouble money? traders, or just anybody across board are using data to determine now who then is coming to borrow?
Of course. So what we've become really good at is actually identifying what data sets, determine what you do. So I can look at data sets and say this is a Mamamboga, this is a Boda Boda rider, this is a Kinyozi, this is a Kibanda, So most of our customers are those informal sector entrepreneurs who need working capital. They need it quickly. They need it efficiently. There's an amount they need. So, it's not the 100,000s or 2 millions that people are looking for. They just need 10,000 here, 15,000 there, sometimes even just 1,000. Yeah. So that's who we cater for. Now, even last time you asked me this question, do some people fall through the cracks? Of course, there's some data sets you can't tell the difference between Boda rider who bets and a student who also bets and receives an allowance from their parents, because the ability to repay, the cash flows look similar in some instances. So some people who shouldn't get loans fall through the cracks. And that's part of the business, part for the course, as they say.
Who are the people who shouldn't get loans?
The biggest demographic that shouldn't get loans are people who cannot repay them, right? So it's those who will be at risk and a serious financial risk if you give them a loan and take them further into, indebtedness. So the term is over-indebtedness. So that's who should not get loans.
And how can you tell?
Well, the way we should tell is by using the credit information sharing framework known as the Credit Reference Bureau. And the idea, last time I was here, I was telling you guys that it's actually not real time. Today it is. So today, all lenders are sharing data into the Bureau, both positive and negative. And the idea is that we as lenders should be able to see that Eric has a loan with so-and-so, and therefore if I give him this 10,000 shillings, he'll now have exposure of 20,000 shillings. And I have to ask myself, can Eric pay back the 20,000 shillings? If the answer is yes, I'll give him the 10,000. If the answer is no, I don't give him.
Okay. If you look at that demographic of the people that you lend, like you've said, it's people who are coming and it's a short cycle. People who are coming and they basically need cash to operate a business.
Working capital.
It's like working capital for very many people in their businesses.
Fuel.
Whether you've said it's Mamamboga, it's the fuel for their business. Why have these people flocked to your businesses? Why have they found you to be the place to go to?
Because we solve a much needed problem. The existing, I call them the incumbents. The incumbents had completely neglected these demographics. They make so much more money from lending to government and lending to large institutions that have, large collateral and, buildings and houses and, all these assets. And so they were completely ignored by this demographic. So what we did is we figured out how do we use the technology available to us. And Kenya is a very unique place, by the way, because digital lending could only happen in a place like Kenya, where you have M-Pesa, which allows you to disburse. You have a credit bureau that is quite modern. We're I keep saying this everywhere I go. We're number 1 in Africa, number 4 in the world.
Number 1 in what?
Credit information sharing framework.
Right.
Because it's so advanced, even compared to modern economies. We're able to access it in a very modern way. Kenya also has a data privacy law. So there's a way we must handle customer data. And then, of course, there's the proliferation of smartphones because of what the telcos have done. So we're able to reach the customer in a very cheap and effective way. And we're able to then, do what is needed to determine if you can get a loan or not.
So everything else was aligned, but the banks. That's it.
Basically.
Everything else was aligned.
However, the largest digital lenders are banks too.
All right.
So Fuliza, I told you we lend 10 billion a month. Fuliza does $1 billion a day. 1 billion a day. Right? I'm sure he does about 25 billion a month. So the largest digital lenders are actually
the commercial banks.
Commercial banks, yes. Right. The difference is they have They don't have niche products, they have mass market products. We have now niche products. So you'll find a lender, one of like I lend to Boda Boda, somebody else lends to Mama Mboga, somebody else lends to Kinyozi. So we are the niche lenders.
Every organization has its own niche, for example.
Yes.
What's yours?
Boda Bodas. It's called Oye.
Your company is called Oye?
Yes.
O-Y-E. Like that?
Yeah.
Oye.
In fact, that's actually how we found the name. We were one of our team members was riding a Boda Boda, and so, somebody called out to him and said, "Oh yeah, hey,
that's it.
That's a nice name."
I say,
I say, and that's it, and that's how you now.
And then you design now a logo and the things. And now when I meet the Boda Boda chairman, I start by saying Boda Boda, oh yeah.
Nice. Nice. Then the Hustler Fund then comes in. The government says financial inclusion, a very large chunk of entrepreneurs in the country are unable to access finance through the formal means, that's the commercial banks. And then when they come to you, they find it's very expensive to repay. And the government says, all right, let's come up with a product in a way that we can help spur this engine with an 8% interest rate. It's 8% per what?
Per annum.
Per annum. Yours is 10% per
month.
30 days. Which makes it what per annum? Okay, let's not go there.
Remember, it's bedroom and,
it's bedroom
it's a rental house and hotel room. Those are two different things. The box is still 300K a month.
Okay. Okay. With the introduction of the Hustler Fund, where does that position your businesses then?
So here's the interesting thing. I think, and we think as an industry, that the Hustler Fund is actually quite transformative, not just for the industry, but for Kenyans in general. The last time I was here, I spoke about a risk called fast loss risk, which is actually the most expensive risk because we don't know if Ndu repays loans. So we as private capital lenders now have to take a risk on Ndu and see, here's 500 shillings or here's 1,000 shillings and hope and pray that she pays us back. What the Hustler Fund is solving for our industry is that it's solving for that first loss. Right? We can now learn that the customer actually can borrow and repay. Right? The second thing I like about the Hustler Fund is that, and even when I was the first thing I said when I was here last, I was watching the interview the other day, is digital lending is the greatest invention ever. Because we figured out how to take small dollar amounts to the people in a very cost-effective and efficient way. And so what the Hustler Fund has done, it has validated that thinking and has now figured out a way to send money to the demographic. And the demographic that matters here is the entrepreneur, the informal sector entrepreneur, and give them working capital in a very cheap way. So I took my Hustler Fund loan the other day. So I got 900 shillings. That was my limit. And
this thing is discriminatory.
Yeah. What did you get? Minimum is 500.
No, they know Eric better than you.
They could see my intention.
They said 200 is good for this person. Let him repay before he considers the 5.
And I got into my M-Pesa 855 shillings. Right? So if you think about that, I got a limit of 900, I got 855. I then was not forced, but I was meant to pay it back, and I paid 948 cents. Now, think about it from the customer point of view. Imagine I'm a Mama Mboga or a Boda rider. To me, I'm still paying 7-point-something% because I got 855, I still had to pay 900 shillings. The difference is that the interest that typically goes to my business is now going to your savings account. Right? So that's the difference in the experience. Anyway, I was talking about why I like it. It takes money direct to the informal sector entrepreneur and helps them build a savings plan. It isn't a novel idea. This has been done across the world. In the US, they have the Small Business Administration. It was founded in 1953, and it has grown to the point that it was the first loan. It gave the first loans to the two largest businesses in the world today, Apple and Tesla, right? And these were not the huge, big amounts of money that people imagine. They were literally, Steve Jobs was still in the garage with Steve Wozniak, right? And they got a couple $1,000s just to test their business model. And now they are what they are today because of that Small Business Administration. And so that's the power
of the
Hustler Fund, the potential of the Hustler Fund.
All right, we'll talk more about it. Let's take a break. It's 7:30. Tell him about Kiwi and what City is going to do today.
So these two gentlemen, don't let this guy just make it seem like it's just City. These two gentlemen will go to a supermarket today. They will proceed to buy a tin of Kiwi black polish. After they have purchased the polish, they will then look under the lid because there will be a code there, and they will dial *459*5#. They will then proceed to win airtime or bundles. With that airtime, they will call me and tell me that they have done this, and they will have automatically been entered into a draw to win 35,000 shillings for school fees in January. These two will do that today.
I can also do it because I want to win 35,000 shillings.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Do it. Supermarket. I'll send you my number.
Yeah, I will send. I must get your number as well.
You will then call me and tell me that you have done it. City, Eric, Kevin, I have my eye on you.
I want you to observe, Kevin, we're being pointed at in that headmistress-ish
An
way.
accusatory finger.
Of you.
There's a reason why I'm talking like this.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Thank you very much, Eric, and it's good to be at the Situation Room.
Always a pleasure coming here. This is the most challenging interview panel in Kenya. You guys are very well informed, and as you can see, Charles today, very philosophical.
To be poor in this country is the greatest sin you can commit, not just from a legal perspective, but from life generally. It is very, very skewed.
We've just heard on the floor of Parliament, just most recently, a leader within the ODM saying that Sisi ni ng'ombe is a baba.
Yeah.
Which means that you are willing to be milked dry.
Hapo. You cannot force me to believe. I'll give way. If it's land that I'm told to return to you, I will. Okay? Because the court has said so. But I'll continue saying, watu wamenirusha. That's all that I'm doing.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
All right, so looking at sunny conditions in Nairobi this morning, we'll see highs of 26 and lows of 17. It's sunny at 13 in Nakuru, highs of 26 and highs of 25 in a cloudy Nyeri at 14. 12 degrees and cloudy in Eldoret, highs of 25, and we'll see highs of 31 in a sunny Mombasa at 26, 27, and light rain in parts of Malindi with highs of 32. We'll see lows of 27. It's cloudy at 19 in Kisumu, highs of 28, and we'll see highs of 27 in Kakamega, cloudy at 19. Mostly sunny at 20 in Kampala, highs of 27 and lows of 18, and we'll see highs of 32 in Dar es Salaam, where it's sunny at 26. It's 17 and sunny in Johannesburg, highs of 24, and we'll see highs of 32 in Lagos, where it's clear at 25. 23 and raining in parts of Kinshasa, highs of 30 and lows of 23.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, so Jogo Road heavy with traffic going out towards Landis Road, and it's going to spill over to Kamkunji, where there is still some traffic in both directions, in and outbound into the city. Not too bad coming off from Gong Road. We're looking at a little bit of it here and there on survey as well, coming off the Thika Superhighway. Outer Ring is not too bad. Just at that junction, coming off of Juja Road is where there is some. And Westlands is also starting to pile up. A late start to traffic in the day, but nothing too painful as such. Into the CBDs where we see most of it. Ring Road Westlands, there's some. James Gishuru, how about that? No traffic spilling over to Waiaki Way. So that looks good for now. We'll keep talking. SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM,
5
Nairobi.
minutes to 8. The conversation continues. This is a Situation Room on KTN News, on Spice FM and online. Our guest this morning, Kevin Mutiso. He's the chairman of the Digital Financial Services Association of Kenya. We are talking about the impact of the Hustler Fund on digital lenders. Kevin, you're telling us the good things that you like about this fund. One thing that you said, it does that job for you, the first loss risk. So basically, you want that person to first go to Hustler Fund, get some money, and then if the person has actually appeared,
proven themselves as willing to repay,
and you will see it on the CRB portal,
yes,
that this person has actually borrowed from Hustler Fund, has repaid, then it raises their score with you.
Yes.
Okay. What else is good about the Hustler Fund?
Well, it's covering another big gap. So the other interesting insight that I can share is that the gap is about 200 billion shillings.
Gap of what?
The total market size, rather, is 200 billion shillings into the informal sector entrepreneurs. Hustler Fund, so what I said is, Fuliza is doing about 30B. I'm sure he's doing about 25B. We are doing about 10. And now Hustler Fund, we've been told to be 50. So if you do that, we're just slightly over 100. So 100B. So there's still about 95 to go.
Sorry, Kevin, when you say to go, essentially we're saying 95 billion shillings is what is needed.
That's the demand.
By the sector to be able to run in terms of funding needs.
200 billion shillings is what is needed by the entrepreneur at the ground.
How do you know this? Is this by the demands that are coming? Or how do you then know that this is what the weight is when it comes to funding?
No, this was a report that was done in 2018, I think, by Equity Bank, if I'm not wrong. But you can see the demand when you just walk around Nairobi, for example. What does a business need? It needs fuel. It needs that capital to do that thing, to make that margin.
Yeah.
Right? So if I'm a Boda rider and I need fuel, I'd rather put 300 shillings so that I can go farther and maybe even go into deeper neighborhoods where there's likely more business.
Yes.
Right? That's what that capital does. That's why that need is there. And if you look at the number of informal sector entrepreneurs we have in this country, I think there are about 6 million, according to FSD report 2019. We're a long way off to giving them what they need. In fact, the biggest complaint from customers is we're still not giving them enough. They need more.
They need more.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I like the Hustler Fund because it's plugging.
So there's still more space even for more to.
Yes, of course.
Get into the market.
Of course.
Now, when you like something as much as you do the Hustler Fund, there must be something you don't like about it. It can't be that you just like.
And it's not yours.
It's not mine.
Somebody else's. We have appreciated the 900 bob that you got. Actually, 850.
855.
Yes, exactly. But again, what do you consider to be things that the originators and the operationalization experts of the Hustler Fund can improve on?
Well, I don't even know if the word is improve. I worry that the idea of lending has been misunderstood as thinking as that it's only about the disbursement. The business of lending is collections, right? So the question I wonder to myself is that if there are people falling late, the FAQ say that they'll send SMS, notifications and reminders. But, somebody who's been in the game 17 years, that you need a call center to call certain customers and say, hey, CT, you owe us 500 shillings. When should we expect it? Right? And I wonder who in government is going to do that. Do they have a call center? Are they working with third parties? If they're working with third parties, who are they?
What are they paying them?
Yeah. The other thing is, I mentioned the Small Business Administration. There's another one called SEFA in South Africa, which is very similar to the Hustler Fund. And what those two institutions did well is they used intermediaries to deploy the funds into the market, because they figured that the intermediaries know what they're doing, right? So, why reinvent the wheel? Find partners, that know exactly what they're doing, that know their customers, that know, in fact, like I said just now, I know that my customers are not getting enough, right? And I know why. Yeah, come and ask me, and I can help you. And I think the fact that the regulations allow for the intermediaries is good, but we want now to see that being enacted, because we know our customers and we have niche markets, so we can genuinely solve and make this transformative fund even be more transformative.
The saving aspect. Let's just go to your 900 shillings that you borrowed. Sorry, 855.
855.
All right.
No, he borrowed 900.
I borrowed 900.
You got 855.
I got 855 and repaid 948 cents.
Okay, 900 shillings and 48 cents,
Yeah.
right? The 45 shillings. Was that a processing fee, service fee, something? What was that 45 shillings that you didn't get?
So it's a savings. And I was told 30% is short-term, 70% is long-term pension.
All right.
Yes.
That's savings. The 45 shillings has gone into savings.
Yes.
Okay. Where is it?
So the long-term savings has gone to the Kenya National Entrepreneurs Trust.
There's a trust that exists?
It has been recently formed through, I forget the Gazette notice, but it was recently formed.
Yeah.
What hasn't been done is the directors and secretariat haven't been.
Trustees.
And trustees.
Kenya National Entrepreneurs Trust.
KNEST.
Okay.
KNEST or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then.
Licensed by the.
Now that I do not know.
Okay.
Retirement Benefits Authority.
That's what it should be. That's who should license it, by the way.
My questions are building up to something here. And so now maybe that would help to shape this. So can you at any time, the way CT likes to go and check his bank and see that the money is there, can you at any time dial a number and say, I want to see my savings. I want to see all my 45 shillings in savings. I want to see it somewhere. Can you do that as of today?
I can't.
You cannot. All right. Would you think that that would be something that you ought to be able to do as savings build up? Part of it is pension, this 45 shillings is going to help a rainy day when you're 70 odd years old, right? Should you be able to see it somewhere? Dial *576# and find my savings sitting somewhere on some cloud.
In fact, that's what I mean, right? The rollout, though impressive in terms of the numbers, I feel could have been a little bit more, and that's why the term intermediaries, I'm using the term intermediaries, could have helped them roll it out in a more efficient way, in a way, because you're right. Let me give you a statistic. The average digital borrower on our platforms takes 20 loans a year. If I take 900 shillings 20 times, my savings should be about 15 times 20, which is 300 shillings. So if instead of getting the 900 next time, maybe I would want to use the 300 and take 600. I need to know how to do that. I really need to know how to do that, because then the savings is not effective to me. The other thing we could have helped them do is financial literacy. What is it that Kenyans don't understand the most is they don't understand. Well, they understand money, but they don't understand how to play or how to use it to their advantage, and they don't understand the benefits of certain things. So if, for example, we create that habit and enforce the habit of repaying on time, right? Digital loans. Do not be surprised if that cascades into paying on time for rent and paying on time for other things, which, by the way, is a big problem in this market because we're such a low trust society. We could have helped them sort of frame those narratives and talk to the customer in a way that they understand, because we understand our customers.
So Kevin, by saying intermediary blah blah, you're basically saying they should have given the fund to you to disburse, to on-lend.
No, they should have given it association and the people. Remember these niche markets they speak of?
Yes.
Because the hustler is in all these niches.
You already understand.
Yes. So if money was given to
us, we would not be lending 900. I'd be lending 20,000. Right?
Because you know the need.
Because I know the need. I know the customer. Right? I know the customer needs a smartphone. I have already created the whole product. How do I get a smartphone we keep talking about this digital superhighway. How do we get people to access and build value on these digital superhighways? They need smartphones, right? There are companies that have figured how to do that.
Do you think it would, because they have talked about it before, they've talked about, so we have started with the personal loans, then there's going to be the SME loan, the groups loans, the Chama loans and all, which they also say, as an institution, according to the regulations that have been gazetted by the National Treasury, for the Financial Inclusion Fund, even institutions can actually access the money. They can work with institutions such as chamas and SACCOs. And is that where then you would fall in? Where you go to the Hustler Fund and get money and on-lend then to your customers?
We would hope so. The fintech industry in Kenya is the most innovative technology sector in Kenya, whether we like to admit it or not. The challenge is that we've been branded with this negative light of digital Shylocks,
yes,
right? And so what I'd urge, to your point, government, is remember you've got talent sitting in country. These are Kenyans, it's not foreigners. Well, some are, but you've got talent sitting in country, you've got technology sitting in country that can help you do these things very effectively. So we would hope that we fall there. Unfortunately, it feels like we're being, because we have this bad tag, we're not being considered as being the innovative sector that we are, and which I think is going to be a huge loss even to GOK.
Okay. Now, you said something I think is important because you understand the lender. I think
borrower.
Understand the borrower. You as a lender understand the borrower, right? Previously, it was that, look, people need money, you either give them or you don't, or you move on. But now, getting into a process of really understanding. So now we have the Hustler Fund, which is, is giving Kevin 900 shillings, it's giving Eric 500 shillings.
I'm repaying that money just now to see if I'm going to catch up with Kevin.
A higher limit. do tell. So, are you essentially saying that the Hustler Fund, good as it is, because I don't think anybody has disputed that it's a good idea to be able to help folks, because, access to credit is probably one of the biggest impediments to flourishing business in this country, right?
Mm-hmm.
That maybe it would have gone a step further if there was understanding of this borrower at whatever level, because the person who is trying to replenish his or her grocery shop is different from the person who needs to keep their motorbike running, is different from the person who needs to buy toner for their photocopying shop. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So do you think that we could see the fund being more effective if it took into consideration the different cadres of borrowers across board?
Of course. In fact, let's zoom out, right? If you are in charge of Kenya, in the sense of you're in charge of the people and economics of the people, what is it that we know? GDP per capita is $2,000, which is about 200 shillings per annum per citizen, right? That means the average citizen makes about 14,000 shillings a month. Because of that, we're now 56 million Kenyans. Because of that, we're actually a very poor country and a very small market as a result of how poor we are, for lack of a better word. The objective should be to improve that GDP per capita to get closer to $10,000, which is about $1 million, so that the average Kenyan is earning about 90,000 a month. The way to do that is by, as I said earlier, taking money to the people who need it in the quickest and most effective way. So to your point, right, if they want it to be effective and if the goal is to build, to improve that GDP per capita so that the economy has cash, running through it and circulating and trade is happening, they have to work with people like us. Right? They have to figure out the customer. They have to know that you can give a mama mboga 20,000, you can give a boda boda 10. You can, they're market traders, women market traders. I sit on an advisory board where we are studying and researching market traders. The difference in volume, from a market trader who sits in the center of a town compared to that market trader at the border, is so diverse. It actually blew my mind. The border, the one at the border is doing maybe 2,000-3,000 shillings a day. The market trader is doing 10,000, 15,000 shillings a day. On paper, they are the same person.
They're market traders.
They're market traders, right? If our objective is to move GDP per capita to the point where we can call ourselves a real economy, the objective should be to understand the customer very well. Let me give you another interesting thing. Our total budget as a country is 3.3 trillion shillings. If you divide 3.3 trillion by 60 million Kenyans, that's about $500 per Kenyan per year from government. So the allocation to Eric from government to provide roads, healthcare, education, blah, 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 is 50,000, 60,000 shillings per year, right? We need to improve that number. So there's two sides to this equation. Government needs more tax revenue. The only way they're going to do that is if businesses make more money.
Yeah.
And people need more money so that they can live these good quality lives, right? And the only way they can do that is by having these types of innovative products, but not by stopping. They need to go the full hog. I don't know if I've said something too crazy.
No, you've said something actually that makes a lot of sense. That's a pin drop, a coin drop moment. Allah, like really, I've repaid the Hustler Fund loan.
And?
I paid back 500 shillings and 32 cents.
Okay, and?
And they told me, congratulations, the certificate is on the way.
Certificate for what?
For paying back the loan in good time. And then I asked them, so what's my limit? 500 bob.
No. But they're right. It's never immediate. When you think the people who crafted this thing don't know the people who are going to try and see.
I have borrowed another 500 immediately.
That's what I did. In fact, my goal is I want to be the person.
Don't say it on national.
No, I want to say it so that I have a competition. I want to have the highest savings amount by the end of next year in my because it's cheap money.
Every time you take a loan,
25
saving. Every time you take a loan, savings. Savings. Yeah, makes sense.
I want to see who will be number one next year. I hope it's me.
But you know something? What Kevin is doing is actually a good thing. Because, one, you are actually not only testing the system, but you are proving the point. And you will prove it as you keep borrowing and paying, that not only does this particular system work, but it can benefit. Now, the question is, when it comes to the person for whom it's intended, because it wasn't intended for you, Kevin, or you, Eric.
I'm a Kenyan.
Yeah, you're not a hustler.
I am.
Of course you're not. The two of you are not hustlers.
What do you mean?
I have decided. It's my opinion.
Okay.
So, how then does this money translate into actually changing the lives of the so-called hustler? How? Because it's supposed to be what? Stimulus. It's supposed to be an incentive. It's supposed to be whatever it is that it's supposed to be. End result should be the life of this person via the business that they're conducting. And you said it well, needs to be on upward trajectory.
Right.
How is the 900 bob and your 500 bob going to bring about that reality?
Or do you borrow and you just work to pay it back and then that's it? You just get back. And maybe just, another part would be, what are the trends that we've seen? That people are borrowing and then you work to pay back what you've borrowed. Your life or your livelihood doesn't get any better per se. You're not accelerating your business, you're feeding, and then you start the next day at the same point.
You see, the scheme, the thinking, I can't fault it, but I have to ask the question.
Of course.
There is an end goal. How?
So the end goal first should be the sustainability of the fund, which is another fact I should have mentioned this earlier, something I'm worried about. Because here's how lending works. I lend out $1 million. I expect 5% of the customers won't pay me, so I expect 50,000 won't come back. So I'll get 950,000 in principal, and if I charge 10% per cycle, it means I'll make 90,000 from the 95,000 from the 950,000 I get back, and that's how I make the extra profit. So 50 is covered, and then I have a 45,000 shilling profit.
Balance.
Yeah.
Yes, balance. Let's call it balance. Now, with the way the fund is currently structured, you've just paid 32 cents.
Yeah.
Right? How are we going? So every cycle, if 5% don't pay, right, we're always going to be negative, net negative in terms of total pool of funds.
With only a 5% default rate.
Yes.
5 only.
Only 5.
Okay.
You're always going to be net negative. So every cycle after that, right, is going to make the pool smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So the question is it a race to zero? Right? So is it a grant or is it a loan? Which is actually one of the biggest issues. I don't know why I forgot to mention that. It's one of the biggest concerns I have, because is this a sustainable model?
So you're saying the interest is too low?
Of course. I think the interest is too low. The point of interest is to cover expenses. Right? One of the biggest expenses in lending is default. Right? So you need to be able to recover whatever has been defaulted and make a little bit to cover expenses and maybe a profit. Now, Hustler Fund doesn't need to make a profit because it's a government.
So there's a reason why the interest is low. It doesn't need to make a profit, because then you need to ask yourself, what's the intent of it from the very beginning? It's not private business that goes in commercially and say, look, we need to make something on this shilling.
Okay.
So this is government saying, look, from the very beginning, let's make life a little bit easier for Kenyans, right?
Okay.
So the intent is not commercial, but while they're at it, let's make a little bit something off the top, right?
Not make a little bit. We need to make the fund sustainable. The pooled funds, at the end of the period, you need to have 1 million shillings at the very least.
Yes.
If you started with 1 million, end at 1 million.
End at 1 million at the very least.
At the very least. Don't
So
end
what
at
you're
100,000.
Okay, so what you're saying is that the current model and the interest amounts that the Hustler Fund then is using is not sustainable in terms of what they're going to get back after the initial period.
That's what I'm saying. Because I predict at least, that every lending model minimum default expected, particularly in a market like ours, is 5%. So if you've lent out 1 million, you expect 50,000 to disappear, right? You need to be able to recover that 50,000 from the balance, right? And if you are paying 32 cents and I'm paying 48 cents, right? I just don't see how.
Maybe government doesn't want that.
It's prorated. Did you pay after 14 days?
No, I paid in 14 days, yeah.
Maybe government actually wants a situation whereby the end user, who is now the hustler per se, is not, strained.
But then that
as
means
other, as other entities, whereby you end up paying interest for the rest of your life.
So if we start at 1 million, by the time as a hustler I'm getting my 10th loan, it means I will not get an 11th loan because there's money.
Nothing left.
That's my point.
I get your point.
Right? So that's to answer your question. What is the end goal? The end goal here is to make a fund that puts money in a cost-effective way to the bottom of the pyramid and makes it gets sustainable.
And for it to do that, it must be sustainable.
It must be sustainable. Yes. And it has to get to the point where, like in the US, the Small Business Administration Fund, right, which is very similar, by the way, in design to Hustler. It's just the difference then in 1953 was they were using forms, right? You're now investing in the future industries of your economy where the first grants or loan given to Apple or Tesla came from a similar structure in the US. Right, sustainability is key. That fund still exists today. Their budget is $700 million per annum. Imagine, Apple has
with no more appropriation from the government.
Yeah,
it's just the rotating fund now. It's 700 million. USD.
Yes.
Anyway, Kevin, thank you very much for joining us again, and thank you for all the new information you've given us. Only that Andrew Franklin is saying, where did you get your 60 million Kenyans from? Last census just a couple of days ago were 49 million.
Sure. So right now it's 56.5 million. I used 60 million to round off so that I could calculate.
For better calculation.
Yeah, but Kenyans, basically, what I was saying is the budget gives you, your allocated is about $500 to $600 per annum, which is pretty low if you ask me.
Kevin Mutiso is the chairman of the Digital Financial Services Association of Kenya. Keep it here for more conversations coming up in the next hour. It's now 8 a.m.
Spice up your life.
The news at the top of the hour on Vibes Radio.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. The Law Society of Kenya opposed proposals by President William Ruto to have the constitution amended, tearing down into key proposals including creation of the office of Leader of Opposition. LSK stated that the Leader of Opposition slot conflicts the country's system of separation of powers, terming it institutionalization of impracticability. Society President Eric Theuri further said the proposals are unconstitutional, faulting President Ruto's approach to utilize the parliamentary route as opposed to allowing a referendum.
Calls upon the Speaker of the National Assembly to note that the proposed amendments are unconstitutional. The amendments are being initiated by the President contrary to the decision in the BBI case, and so therefore they should not see the light of day in Parliament.
And interreligious leaders have called on the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions to reassure Kenyans on its independence and commitment to deal with corruption cases in the country. The religious leaders further said that the dropping of high-profile cases by the Office of the DPP was questionable and made Kenyans lose trust in them.
We are concerned that the country has not exhibited firm commitment to deal with corruption and are shocked by the manner in which the Director of Public Prosecution is dropping cases touching on high-level crimes. The public confession by the Director that he was influenced by the previous regime to frame people through court cases means the office has lost independence and can no longer be trusted to not be influenced by the current regime to similarly frame other people. For this reason, we recommend that the Director takes time and takes decisive action to reassure Kenyans of the independence of this key constitutional organ.
Some of the cases that have so far been dropped include that of Public Service CS Aisha Jumbo, Agriculture CS Bethika Linturi, former Kenya Power CEO Ben Chumo, and former Samburu Governor Moses Lenolkula. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has revealed plans to have the National Youth Service operate as a private security firm in a bid to make it profitable and provide employment opportunities for its graduates. Gachagua says NYS officers having undergone the paramilitary program at basic training level, they will make very thorough and professional guards. He says the service will assist police in management of human and vehicular traffic flow in the city and other urban areas.
Going forward, our Cabinet Secretary, we want to have a discussion, government ministries and parastatals and other state corporations, to have a concrete plan on how to remove our officers from the security forces to go and deal with crime. And we can have NYS personnel man those offices at a fee. They shouldn't be free, so that we can create a revolving fund to train more people. That is a conversation that we want to have. That we don't want our officers from the National Police Service. We want them to go and fight bandits, criminals, deal with the eradication of crime. And the NYS personnel, because they are disciplined, they can do most of the work in terms of controlling people coming in and out of buildings. But we want to have a conversation about payment.
Transport CS Kipchumba Murkomen says Kenya Railway Services will offer transportation services from Nairobi to Kisumu from next week Monday. Murkomen says these will reduce traffic snags and scrambling for long-distance PSVs, as one train can carry up to 800 people.
I have also good news for Kenyans who are traveling for Christmas. You don't have to fight for only road transport, especially now we are struggling with many people bringing unroadworthy vehicles to the road to fight for the space in road transport. The Kenya Railway Corporation is going to have scheduled a rail transport from Nairobi to Kisumu, so you have opportunity to carry most people to the western part of the country from around 21st of this month up to 1st, 2nd, 3rd, when people will have returned back to Nairobi. Every day they will carry people from Nairobi to Kisumu. And if you book early and the demand goes higher, we can also increase the number of trains based on demand.
The CS has further called on passengers not to allow PSV drivers to commit traffic offences. It says that citizens can mitigate the number of accidents by helping in achieving more enforcement.
A driver that we can see that is misbehaving on the road, why are we allowing them and cheering them on to continue committing traffic offences? If you're overspeeding, if the all passengers in unison tell the driver, you either go properly or we report you to the police or we alight from this vehicle, we will be able to achieve more enforcement. If a driver is drunk, why do you have to board that matatu? Let's be able to tell the driver, I'm not boarding this vehicle because you are drunk. So citizens can help us achieve more enforcement if we take consideration.
And Newswire enforces and supports that information. I'm Dennis Aseta. Good morning.
Today's Newswire is powered by Samsung Galaxy Buds 2 Pro. Listen to crisp and clear sounds while on the go.
All right, so we're looking at some spilling over onto Likoni Road. It's from that crisscross of Enterprise coming off of Lunga Lunga, Likoni and Jogo Road. So that whole area will give us some traffic there as you're trying to get out towards the Nyeri Stadium. If you're coming off of Bunyala Road, it's also going to slow down just a little bit. Lusaka looks good, but then you're going to get off Jogo Road towards Landis, and that inbound traffic is quite something right about now. Going on to Haile Selassie, coming off Gong Road, continues with some traffic. The Thika Superhighway hasn't been doing too poorly today, but we've got heavy traffic is coming in from Survey through to the Pangani underpass and then out towards Wangari Maathai. You should be all right heading into the city. Coming out of Western's not too bad either. Let's keep an eye on things. Hopefully this Friday will turn out to be just okay. SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Conversations this morning. Well, there's a comment I'm seeing here from Isa Newton. What is he saying? Talking about the Hustler Fund. Made more Kenyans emulate their cuffment kwa madeni. Tafadhali waambie waachane na mimi. Shilingi 1,200 sio kitu ya kushinda wakinitumia message.
Wow. Really?
Hey, okay. Sasa we lipa deni sawa mambo yako. Ndu? So tell us about the Buds 2 Pro.
So the Buds 2 Pro, looking at a way in which you can continually enjoy your listening experience. It's talking about a gadget that immerses you in the sound. Immerses, puts you where?
Into the sound.
Inside the Samsung Buds 2 Pro. And so all you need to do is, they fit so well into your ears, whether you're listening to music or whether you're in a meeting, whether you move your head from side to side, it doesn't alter the sound in any way. And these all contribute to making sure that your listening experience is a fantastic one. They fit perfectly into your ears and you can have your meetings without noise from the outside. Your technology companion in the Samsung Buds 2 Pro.
Kabisa. City, we have a guest in the studio. His name is Solomon Kuria.
Yes.
Welcome him with the day's proverb.
Mr. Solomon Kuria.
Yes.
I am going to do as I have been instructed to do. I am going to welcome you to the studio with a proverb. Now, this proverb is from the country of Equatorial Guinea. Yes. An interesting country, this one. President, Vice President, relatives. In fact, the Vice President is the son of the President. And the President is the longest serving president in the world. I was about to call him monarch. Then I realized, no, he was actually elected. Yes. Now,
democratically so.
Democratically elected. Okay? Yes. Meaning his people elected him. Anything that you hear contrary to that, take it that you just heard it. Okay? Now, I am going to read my proverb using something called a Samsung Galaxy. Yes, Tab S8 Ultra. Okay? Now, here goes. Wherever a man goes to dwell, his character goes with him. Yes. Man leaves house, goes to another house to live. Character
goes with him.
That's it.
Man changes clothes. Character
goes with him. Man leaves country, goes to another country. Character goes with him.
Yeah.
Man leaves childhood, becomes a man, gets married. Character goes with him.
Gets married with him.
Yes.
Wisdom from Equatorial Guinea.
Yes.
Solomon Kuria, welcome to Kenya's Biggest Conversation.
Thank you so much.
You're a youth leader. You are the immediate former chairman of the Azimio Youth League.
Yes.
Am I correct?
That's correct.
Immediate former chairman.
Yes.
How did you become the chairman of the Azimio Youth League?
I was appointed through consultations amongst all the political parties that formed Azimio la Umoja political party. And I was called, interviewed, and given the job. And I was in Azimio la Umoja, serving at the pleasure of my political party. You know, all of us in Azimio la Umoja had come from
parties,
from political parties. So I had, and I'm still a member of Jubilee Party.
Okay.
I resigned. It's good to put it clear. I resigned from Azimio la Umoja political party, but not
from Jubilee.
From Jubilee.
Did you have any leadership role in Jubilee?
Actually, I was I was the first chairperson of the Jubilee Party Youth League, and that's when I left and joined Azimio. And that position was taken by another vibrant young person called Advice Mudalo. So I was playing the role of chairperson of the Youth League at Jubilee Party, and that's how I scaled up to the position of chairperson of Azimio la Umoja.
What is a youth league in a political party?
As it should be, because it's not how it is in this country, and it's quite unfortunate. But a youth league should be the most vibrant wing of any political party world over. And if you ask me what is the role of a youth league in a political party, I will take you to South Africa, in ANC, where the headquarters of the youth league of ANC is actually different from the headquarters of the political party itself. They operate like, an entity. And also the Women League. Those two have catapulted the party, the ANC party in South Africa. A youth wing should actually, young people, they are hungry, for power. They're ambitious. They want to meet their dreams and all that. A youth league should enable young people grow politically, such that you don't just jump into a political office without any experience, without any political growth. It's a space that where young people should grow politically before they seek political offices. They should contribute to the growth of the party through mobilization of membership, because young people are energetic. Moving across the country is not an issue. Preparing the agenda through all platforms, social media, mainstream media, and all that. They are the people who can make a political party really grow. Unfortunately, in our country, that space, you really have to fight hard for it. You really have to fight. I'm not saying anywhere else it is just provided, but as systems are in Kenya, political parties, most cases, are more or less individual properties. They have not been, people have not been made to believe that this is our party. We are members. Like the KANU, I still see some old men with that card. I think it was going for 20 bob and a tie.
The red tie.
The red tie. And they felt that they are members of this political party. They felt like they have some shares in the party. That is no longer there in this country. And that's why you find you may not be able to clearly tell what is the role of this youth league in the party. And sometimes they just put there because it is the requirement by the registrar of political parties to represent all interest groups. So you find your name is somewhere, but it is just serving the purpose of filling that gap.
So when you were leader of Jubilee,
yes,
the ruling party then,
yes,
and you were the chair of the youth league in Jubilee,
yes,
what were you doing?
One, I would say I participated in the formation of Jubilee, big time, from the formation, because I remember that by that time I was the supervisor of about 600 clerks that were to help the party mobilize membership across the country. So I was in the process of the formation of the party before assuming that office. And then I aggressively campaigned for our presidential candidate, by then His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, through our group. We were calling ourselves Tokelezea, together with Zach Kenothia and Wamboi Nyoto, Nyongesa, and many others. Came together as young people, moved across the country, and we ensured that the president won, actually twice. You remember 2017, we held the presidential elections twice. So that was the biggest role. First, forming the party, and then number two, campaigning for the presidential candidate and winning, and after that, supporting the government, which I did until we lost to His Excellency William Ruto a few months ago.
So as chairman of the youth league then,
yes.
So I just want to look at what you've just said about what a political party should do with its youth wing.
Yes.
And the sad reality of what you're telling us, the sad reality of the political parties in Kenya and their youth wings.
Yes.
So you are the founder chairman of the youth wing of Jubilee.
Yes.
You are the founder chairman of the youth wing of Azimio.
Yes.
Two political parties with a national footprint, one a governing political party. And then you're telling us it's unfortunate that youth wings are not what they ought to be. Where did you drop the ball?
What I would want to say, and I started by giving you an example of ANC, and probably we should be having some courses down there in that country and actually learn how a youth wing should be run. Number one is resources. You have to be independent. If you have to perform, you have to be independent, and you don't have these resources. The party should provide such that you're able to have youth programs across the country, sensitizing about the party's manifesto, the party's agenda, the ruling parties. For instance, Jubilee was the ruling party. If the youth wing was that vibrant, if we were given the resources that we require, and I'm not saying we were not supported, I'm not saying so, but just a few of us could get that support. But imagine if the scope is bigger. Imagine if we have the resources to have as many young people participate in their government agenda, the government they voted for and the government they support. If those resources are there, if we have an office in this country where a young person who is a member of KANU does not go to see the chairman, does not go to see the SG, walks into an office that is customized for young people and dealing with those issues and well facilitated by the party, then we would be having very vibrant youth wings in this country.
Is there an understanding?
And that is not there.
Okay. Is there an understanding from the political party structure about the importance of this very thing that we're talking about?
Yes.
Because unfortunately, the way political parties and the whole spectrum in the country today, the way in which they're currently constituted is that the power is either in the individual who leads the party or at least the people who surround him or her.
Exactly.
We know that.
Yes.
If there is no buy-in or if there is no goodwill from the party structure to have these things in place, the likelihood of you presenting it to anybody outside the party and it being accepted then reduces in potency, right?
Yes.
Have political parties presented the importance beyond just presenting, but actually entrenching and presenting them to the people and saying, look, these are our people. We have parties sometimes who insist on the gender agenda. Ensure that you are placing young women there so that people know that the options are available. Do we find political parties specifically putting the power in the hands of young people? Because if they don't, unfortunately, nobody else will.
One, I would say, I begin by where you started, that power rests with, sometimes power seems to be resting with individuals.
In political parties in Kenya,
Yes.
most times.
Political parties have not been institutionalized. It's not an institution. It's a one-man show, or perhaps a man and his inner circle. And that ends and stops there. Therefore, whatever comes out then, whatever is then being taken to the young people or to the women, or it is a decision by the man and his
cronies,
group, the man and his group. Therefore, it really beats the logic of we are in Jubilee, we are in UDA, we are in KANU, but do we have any say on what emanates from the decision-making table? What then comes to us and what, garbage in, garbage out? Do we participate? That's where the biggest problem is. But political parties try to make it look like they involve. Like, for instance, I said, and I felt, and one of the reasons I resigned is because I'm seeing decisions being made. The people I represent are affected. I have to take responsibility. But of the decisions I did not make or was not involved in making. Therefore, you feel like an outsider. And that's when I came to realize that sometimes, and I told you this, sometimes your name is put there just to fill the gap that we must have a youth rep. And it is put there. Sometimes we find some political parties trying, like I can tell you, without beating around the bush. UDA has tried when it comes to young people. They have tried. From where I come from the county of milk and honey and potatoes and cabbages. Now you have
those are many
tried.
things.
That is Nyandaro County, the food basket of this country. I can tell you, amongst about so many young people who are supporting the political party during the campaign period that has just ended, about 7 of them have added in the county assembly as nominated members of the county assembly as MCAs. 7, that's a good number of young people getting a space of 5 years to grow politically. The same political party that I come from, in the wisdom of our SG, he went all the way to Meru, to Meru actually, and brought an individual from Meru and nominated him to Nyandarua County Assembly.
What do you mean?
Yeah, that's a fact. And I'm telling you, sometimes you just get lucky if you get an individual who believes in you. Went all the way to Meru, nominated a person, took him to Nyandarua County. And you look around in Nyandarua, we have so many young people who are supporting our agenda. It's Azimio, it's Jubilee. Then, but because, again, you are not there to decide who gets nominated, how do we go about who do we nominate and who don't we nominate? Someone, and a stranger ends up in the county assembly as a nominee.
Who nominates people to the county assembly?
Sometimes you can make it consultative. You can rally all the elected leaders or the people who have the nomination certificates, because it is done actually sometimes, most of the times, just before we have the elections.
Yeah.
So you sit down with your governor candidate, your senator candidate, your women rep, MPs, and MCA candidates. Because you are all working towards one goal, and you have a presidential candidate. You know the loyalists you are working with. You know the people you are working with. And you bring their names on the table, and you agree that you can choose to do. But eventually, This list will come from the political party under the signature of
the Secretary
General. So he is the person who will end up giving out the names. Sometimes the political parties decide to consult. Sometimes the decision is made inside a room. So that's how it is done. But even you saw the yellow nominations. Something else that should not have happened also happened. And the results that we ended up with. Therefore, I'm saying there's an inner circle that makes some of these decisions. But for you to involve everyone, it's good to consult all the leaders at the party branches in all the 47 counties. Because you could be the party leader or the SG, but you don't know a very influential person in Migori who may be left out if you do not consult the leaders from
the local leaders.
Or you end up saying, actually, we don't have anyone to nominate, but I can see there's someone here from Meru, and they applied, or they reached out to me, so let me take them to Nyandarua. Let me take them to Nakuru.
Solomon, do you know of any political party or political caucus in the world that doesn't function in the way you've just described? One whose functions and the way they go about things is, consultative, whatever counties, or whatever they call them, bring up. Do you know of any political party in the world that does this?
I know. I know of the Jubilee of 2017 that I supported so much. I know the consultations that were made and people who ended up, most people, not all, but most who ended up in the county assemblies as nominated MCAs, in the National Assembly as nominated members of parliament, and Senate the same. It was consultative.
But who made the final decision? The consultative group or a group of people or individual?
It depended on the level of appointment. If it is county level, the governor had some say.
Okay.
When it came to Senate and the National Assembly, the party leader must have okayed whatever happened. Just like you saw in Azimio and Kenya Kwanza. Before the yellow MPs were voted for by the members of parliament, each house had a meeting and they agreed. Even Kenya Kwanza, I think they agreed on 5 names. They failed in one, and my friend Karovia was able to penetrate and go to Yala, thanks to the members of parliament for ignoring the call from their party leader to have him out. But anyway, they voted for him. But you could see the party leader called his team. Azimio still made their decision on who to send to ER. So they consulted. That happens. But at times, for a seat like that seat of a member of county assembly, I don't believe there is, unless you are so outspoken and you have a one-on-one conversation with the party leader or maybe the deputy party leader, it's sometimes difficult for, say, for instance, the president, like William Ruto, to know of an MCA in Nyandarua who was supporting someone in a ward. Sometimes it becomes difficult. And that's why he has to consult his local leadership there, the governor, the senator, the women rep and stuff, for him to get to know who is that person. Give me the name. And then
if that worked for Jubilee,
yes,
Jubilee was one party, is it not?
Yes.
Everyone, the deputy president, were in Jubilee.
Yes.
Okay. So why didn't that hold sway this second time around?
Because sometimes the higher office bearers change, and people come with their own personalities. So sometimes an SG can decide not to consult. Sometimes they can decide to consult.
So it wasn't a party policy. What you're saying was, what I hear you to be saying is that what we saw happening was what the leadership at that time decided that they ought to do and the path they ought to follow.
Yes.
But it wasn't something entrenched within the party that this is how we go about doing our things.
Of course, if you have to nominate, then you have to go by the party constitution. What you're just doing, you're just enriching the provisions of the party constitution. You're having consultation. But anyway, if it is to nominate a youth, you nominate a youth, as the party constitution says. You nominate a PWD as the party constitution says. But you consult who is to fill this. But already there are the provisions by the constitution of the of the party and the constitution of our republic.
You know where I'm going with this? Huh?
Yes.
There are nominations, there are appointments, there are elections, there are caucuses, there are decisions to be made. Huh? Mm-hmm. If indeed we want to go through that consultative process, but I make sure that the people who are in the leadership who make these decisions and discuss are people I have already handpicked or I've made sure are there.
Yes.
Have I not predetermined the results that I want?
You have. I'm telling you have. But politics is what it is. And that's why you fight sometimes. There are people in this country who really do not have any interest in politics. And there are millions of them. There are people who just say mine is to wake up and vote. But in that list, you will have thousands of people, thousands of applicants who will apply for those jobs, the nominations. And actually, one of the requirements, and they expect to know who deserves this. So they will ask you, what have you done for the party? What have you done to make the party grow? Because also, again, it beats the logic to just compare someone who has worked for the party since conception, mobilized membership, campaigned for the country, and they won, and someone else who was sitting down pretty somewhere, waiting for that chance to arise, and applies for nomination. So, actually, let me say, in politics, more of what is rewarded is loyalty and contribution to the growth of the political party. So that's what happens, and that's the setup of our Kenyan politics. It's not like in the corporate world where your CV speaks for you. The CV that speaks for you in our Kenyan politics is your contribution towards the growth and success of the party agenda in the country.
Which is what should
That's
be
what
important.
puts you forward. That's very important. And I believe that's why they consult to know huyu tutaacha nje kwani kutakuwa na kelele. If we leave this one out, there will be an outcry. And that's why you should consult as much as you can. And sometimes it's unfortunate that other bigger issues do not actually come on board. Like, if we nominate you, what will be your contribution? Like, on merit.
Are you fit for that particular role?
Are you fit? But what is looked at is, what did you do for us to be where we are as a political party?
But Solomon, if you think about it, if I participated very well in mobilizing people to vote for the party, then I'm a very good person to be in House of Representatives.
Yes.
It means that I am in touch with the people. Yes. So I'm qualified to be a representative of the people in a county assembly. But let's take a break. It's 28 minutes to 9. Solomon Kuria is a former chairman of the Azimio Youth League. He resigned via the letter to the chairman of the Azimio Council and the party leader of Azimio on the 8th of December. After we take a break, he'll come and tell us now why did he write this letter, what's his beef, and where is he going. He says he's not leaving Jubilee.
But
so
why?
So why?
He said Azimio.
Has he left Azimio, or is he only leaving the Azimio leadership? All those questions we'll ask. Have you sent a message to 22365 to find out more details about Vipingo development and the project that they are doing? This is the apartments in Vipingo. 1255 Palm Ridge Apartments, Phase 2, opened by Centum Real Estate for from as low as 2.45 million shillings. You get to buy a studio, a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, or 3-bedroom apartment in Vipingo. You have access to parking, play area, water, just close proximity to the Malindi Highway, close proximity to the Vipingo airstrip as well. All you need to do is to get more information, send the word Vipingo to 22365. When you do that, they immediately send you a message with a link, and they tell you that our team will get in touch with you shortly. They will call you. But also at the same time, they send you a link where you can watch a video of the development, the houses that are there. Phase 1 completed, 500 houses done, handed over to their owners. And if you watch that video, you'll actually see the reality of it. Do that today. Vipingo 22365. We'll be back shortly. Everybody, welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Heri Latifa, Kismuga, Madam Du, nimesalimia wote sana.
Tumepokea salamu, asante sana.
Hapa Garissa today the weather is very good, only that baridi inatupeleka mbio sana.
Sasa baridi ni degree ngapi hapo?
Hata sijui lakini madam tunakauka sana.
If you want to follow the money trail, you've got to think like a thief to be able to catch that thief.
A slap from a friend is better than a kiss from an enemy. Put them together.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Cloudy at 19 in Nairobi, highs of 26, and we'll see highs of 26 as well, and a sunny Nakuru at 15. It's 17 and sunny. In Nyeri, highs of 25 and 25 as well in a mostly cloudy Eldoret at 15. Partly sunny conditions at 27 in Mombasa, highs of 31, and we'll see highs of 32 in Malindi today. It's 21 and mostly cloudy in Kisumu, and it's 23 and cloudy as well, going to highs of 27 in Kakamega. 21 and cloudy in Kampala, highs of 27, and we'll see highs of 32 in a rainy Dar es Salaam. It's 18 and sunny in Johannesburg, highs of 24, and we'll see highs of 32 in a clear Lagos. 23 and rain showers in Kinshasa, highs of 30 and lows of 23.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life.
It hasn't been too much of a pain in the neck, this traffic this morning. We're seeing the Thika Superhighway looking a little bit better than it was before. As you try to get past Survey, though, that's where it's thick. And then Kiambu Road has joined late in the game, but still, traffic is bumper to bumper in and outbound. And we're looking at Westlands traffic now starting to build up coming off of James Gishuru, but it shouldn't last too long. Ring Road Westlands is also pretty busy right about now. We're looking at Uhuru Highway busy through Westlands and into the CBD. That will continue for some time with traffic right in the middle of the city. Let's talk on SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Keep things moving this morning.
Are you ready? Okay.
Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
The Jubilee Party was cock of the walk, ruling party. Solomon Kuria was chairman of the Jubilee Youth League. And then the opportunity arose when Jubilee and other political parties formed the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party. Solomon applied, was vetted, and was appointed the chairman of the Azimio Youth League. Now, on the 8th of December, he wrote to the chairman of the Azimio Council and copied the party leader of Azimio, and he told him, I'm resigning from this position of Azimio Youth League chairman, citing several grievances. Give us those grievances, Solomon.
One, let me, so that I don't sound ungrateful, first say I'm honored to have served in Azimio la Umoja, the first coalition party to have ever been registered by the registrar of political parties in this country. I'm grateful to immediate former president Uhuru Kenyatta and the party leader Raila Amolo Odinga. Tremendous respect for the two for giving me the opportunity to serve, and I enjoyed as I served until I changed my mind. One, let me say, when Azimio la Umoja political party was formed, the agenda was one, and the main, win presidency in 2017 and serve the people of Kenya at the helm between now and 2027, and maybe seek re-election in 2027. It's good to be clear that the Kamukuji rally that was held a few days ago it really got me thinking, what is my future as a young leader in Azimio? Is this really what I want? And was there proper consultation before this meeting was held? Is it necessary to start throwing jabs at this government a few days after it was installed. What should we have been more, organized before we went out? And then, just even before we take steps, another letter comes out, cancelling another crucial meeting that the members, the young people, the followers of Azimio were waiting for. Explanation? Where is it? Not convincing. None. So I told myself, 2027, where do I want to see myself as a young leader? Who should I rally behind as I wait for 2027? Should it still be His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga, who has tried some other 4-5 times, and I will now still be there waiting for a 6th time, maybe to win with him or to fail with him again? But then I said, maybe, just maybe, we failed to clinch presidency in 2022 because of failure to proper consultations. Because if you ask me, with my little knowledge I have in politics, I would have waited for at least, I wouldn't do anything before 6 months elapse. Today, William Ruto, the president, will pick the mic and ask people, look, the AIE holders of my government were just cleared the other day by the parliament, by the National Assembly. And they are telling me I should have lowered this, I should have looked at this, I should have done ABCD. It is very easy. And Raila Amolo Odinga is doing this to himself. He's giving the president a golden chance to play reverse psychology with us and with him. Because he's likely to say, this guy is a saboteur. My PSs were just cleared. I'm still in the process of recruiting the CASs and installing the government. He will give him the chance to say, I have no time. Remember, the president and his deputy were all over a few days ago telling people, actually, we found empty coffers in this government. Therefore, it would have been prudent for His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga to wait for at least 6 months and come and say, so you talked of empty coffers, you have collected, if we aim to collect 2 trillion in a year, as KRA, then probably it should be somewhere 500 million,
billion.
500 billion, or maybe heading to 1 trillion. So now tell us, what have you done with this money vis-a-vis the promises you made to Kenyans? But this thing of jumping too fast, holding political rallies a few days after elections, and then, there's something I heard from the rally, and it really got me thinking.
Were you there?
I didn't go. I didn't go. So I had one of the members of parliament from that region, I won't mention him, he's addressing the people, the crowd, and he's telling, and then the party, the chairman of the Azimio party or ODM party in Nairobi, whispered to the MP and told him, pale nyuma, watu wanaporwa sana. So he said, vijana hapo nyuma, wacheni kupora watu. And a meeting took a break of like 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Watu like when you're calling for a meeting, that is not a meeting. When you're trying to set an agenda, that is not a meeting that you just invite everyone. These meetings should have been well constituted such that the people you have are the people who will still take the message you have given them back to mashinani. But when you just say, I will be going to Kamukoji, so everyone come. So, magging was there. And I'm actually fed up with this unorganized
So
meetings.
you were against the rally?
Against the rally, number one.
Number two?
Number two, I felt the recipients, of the consequences of such meetings, if the government decides to react, are the young people I represent in that Azimio. Watu ambao watakula tear gas are these same young people.
But why would the government react adversely? And they were simply fulfilling a freedom that they have
Yeah.
of association. I mean, what by simply meeting, what had they done that was
From the
contrary
past
to the law?
lessons, we have had such. Government has reacted. Watu wanapigwa, we are university way, and most of them are young people. We have advanced as a country. There are so many ways of addressing grievances. From where I sit and from where you sit, from where he sits, lady and gentlemen, just through this mic, a message can go very far. Throughout the country. Do we need this political at the helm of high cost of living and all this stuff? Can we communicate effectively through other means?
Solomon.
So and remember, the speculations are after the rallies, there will be demos. As Solomon Courier, I cannot be part of that.
Solomon, may I say something?
Yes.
Have you? This is your first time to be in the opposition, so to speak, in politics. Is it not so?
Yes.
Okay. So this was your introduction to opposition politics.
Yes.
It's a bit shocking, isn't it? Because I can see what you're saying. Through those lenses, it is an extremely uncomfortable position to be in. And you're wondering, surely, can these guys do these things differently?
Yes.
Everything you've mentioned, high cost of living, problem with this, that is the perfect fodder for anyone who is in the opposition to milk. There's this quiet. People are not happy. You can't wait for it to happen again. When it happens, it's when you take advantage of it. But that aside,
yes.
You mentioned South Africa. I'm glad you did. Did you know that Nelson Mandela was in the youth league of ANC?
Yes.
In 1944 to what? 1947? Now, did you know that the person who actually set up that particular youth league is somebody who actually died at the age of 33?
Yes.
Now, he influenced, among many luminaries, Nelson Mandela, okay?
Yes.
Walter Sisulu, Oliver Tambo. And that gentleman's name is Anton Lembede, okay?
Yes.
He's considered to be among the people who led this. Now, if you look at the structure of ANC and how it grew, ANC over the years developed and it became a political party with structures laid down. I mean, it's as old as South Africa,
yes,
if I may call it that. I mean, I'm being dramatic here. But outside Kano, we don't have that sort of history with our political parties. So some of these things that we talk about, the moment people have a little disagreement, we are like these Christian churches. So someone disagrees,
you form yours.
You go and form yours quietly. They were wearing green garments. You wear blue and green and yellow garments, and you make sure they are more flowery. All I'm saying is, in the absence of the culture that you're referring to, because what you're talking about, ideally, should be how things are managed in political setups.
Yes.
But do we have the sort of structures politically? Look at KANU, the oldest party. Already they're having a problem. Their leader and the Secretary General are splitting hairs, and they're soon going to be calling each other names, not very long from now.
Yes.
Okay? You look at ODM, the leader of ODM. He was a leader of many other parties before he got to ODM. The current president, how many other parties was he in before he got here? The immediate former president.
So many.
So, that is our lived experience with our politics in this country.
What I'm so much worried about,
yes,
is I can read. There is no strategy. It is the usual tactic, the usual rhetoric that has not given you anything for the last 5 times.
Are you sure they haven't gotten anything? This is a question I need to ask you. Are you sure?
And I will tell you, just like in football, there is only one win. Just in like in politics also, there is no number 2. Everybody, the eyes that you focus, the focus that you have when you are running for presidency is going to the house on the hill. And that is the State House. If you have not stepped there, your dream is yet to come true. And therefore, I am worried that the same strategy applied 1997 with all the changes we have had is still being applied. I mean, sometimes, even when you give medication, continuous medication. That's why I'm not a medicine expert, but sometimes even whatever you're applying the medicine to becomes immune.
People
if you continue
they develop
applying
resistance.
the same, yes, they develop resistance.
Yes.
And, they become immune to your medicine. I believe someone like William Samoei Ruto, I don't think requires the strategy that His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga is applying. He is sharp, he can see him, and is able to tell him immediately, I have not worked. Give me like 1 year. And actually, you remember when it came to the issue of maize and the cost of unga, what is the response so far? Within 1 year.
Give me 1 year.
Give me one year. And I have given you.
Which is a departure from Nikiweka Biblia chini.
Nita. So, and then also, that comes with something like, we have no money. We didn't find any money in there. So, and I'm also a trained economist. And I know, for me to give my business thumbs up, hands up, to continue or to withdraw from the same business, I at least have to give myself 6 months before I write it off. I can actually make losses. First month, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, but not seventh. After sixth, no. But if I make losses 1, 2, 3, 4 months, fifth, small profits, sixth, then I can give it an opportunity to grow.
Are you sure you still want to continue being in politics?
Yes. And this is what I want to. Yes, that's why I resigned. Because, look at the future of Azimio. And also something I'm saying, same strategy. Team leader, same strategy that has not worked. This time, also, I am feeling, and this is very honest from my heart, that it is this time that His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga agrees to play just the advisory role in that camp. If something has to come out of it, it is the time. And I feel it.
You're saying what? He should hang up his boots.
You know what you're
and
saying
I'm saying
has been said in the last 3 elections.
Yes.
What you're saying has been said.
This is the perfect.
And he doesn't hear it.
That is that perfect
He doesn't get to
opportunity.
him.
It is the perfect opportunity for him to look around who is with him and say, who can I now hand over this mantle to? I will continue giving my wisdom. I will continue advising you on what to do, but I will not take the first lane.
You clearly have thought.
That is what I think.
This is what you feel.
That is what I am convicted.
And you have thought about. Who do you think he should hand over to?
Now, as Azimio, what I was thinking around, there are people there, enough of them. I will not say that he should hand over to A or C. He should first make that decision. And then call all the stakeholders in Azimio. Like, I heard a story of JM and Jomo Kenyatta at some point when Jomo Kenyatta's legs couldn't move anymore, when he felt that I won't continue this anymore. At some point, he got people and he said, now look, guys, I'm elderly, I'm sickly. Most likely, I may not be there in the next elections. So who amongst you thinks can? And the debate started. This time, it should happen with Raila Amolo Odinga.
So who should he have in that room?
That room has so many people. There's Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka.
One.
There is Joho, although nowadays he's so quiet, I don't know whether
Two,
he
Joho.
left. I have seen Wamalo himself, even he has offered himself
Eugene
yesterday.
Wamalwa,
Eugene
three.
has said he'll be there. There is Oparanya.
4.
So all those people, those are national leaders.
Those are just 4.
They're just 4, but we only need 1 again. So the 4 are so
So
many.
no Martha Karua?
There's Martha Karua. Sorry. There's Martha Karua, the Iron Lady.
No one from Jubilee? Your party?
I mean, you said there were many.
The party leader has...
and 4 are not really many.
No, when you only need 1, and a national leader, 4 are many. I believe so.
3 of them from ODM, 1 from Wiper, 1 from NARC Kenya.
Yes.
Jubilee?
Jubilee, there's Jeremiah Kioni, but I don't think it's taking the first lane, no. But maybe supporting the team.
So not in the room, but outside there waiting.
Yeah. So
okay.
my thinking is, sometimes, and you have told me that the current president has moved from one party to the other before.
All our political leaders moved, with the exception of Moi.
Yes.
And Jomo Kenyatta.
Now, I would like also to tell you the software of our young voters and the Kenyan voters in general. They like that new energy. That is why you saw in Mount Kenya, they overwhelmingly voted for Jubilee in 2017. The same Jubilee they called names this time round, because there was introduction of UDA. Look at what Eugene did in Western. There was always Ford Kenya, but he took DAPK. He got a governor. He has some MCAs.
There was new Ford Kenya even before that.
Yeah. So people, Kenyan voters like new energy.
Do they?
And this new energy is what I am saying. Yes, they do. I can assure you they do.
It's what you're saying needs to be inputted in parties.
Yes, in political parties. And that's what His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga should discover. If you want to help these people, if you want to help Kenyans, let him accept to install new energy in Azimio and even in ODM. You saw the other day in Parliament, the tough war between Babu Owino and I don't know whether it is Opio Adai or...
You're calling it was Mbadi.
And John Mbadi.
Yes.
They were fighting for that space in that powerful committee in Parliament. Still it headed with someone else and not Babu Owino. And you can clearly see, when we were doing the campaigns, I did not see the fellow. I always saw young people calling for Babu. We want to hear from him. And when he comes, and even Raila himself said, no, we can't go to this rally without
Babu.
But now when it comes to now in the National Assembly, still goes for John Mbadi. Why? Why not install this new energy and see how it works and what it does? Look at His Excellency, the President, and his party, and the people he walks around with. If he went for the same...
How closely do you want us to look at these people he walks around with?
And
there's new energy in the party.
I will tell you, if he went for Akinabet and Koskei, and walked with him, in fact, the word has changed. It is actually wrong to believe that what you were doing in 1997, what you were doing in 2000, is what you should still do in 2022. Over 20 years ago. So much has changed. And I believe it is a time now Raila hangs the boot on national, on his dreams to become the president. Probably say the shortcut to this is by being a kingmaker.
And have someone else.
Support someone else, put all my energy behind him, and bring the change that I want.
Final question. Sorry. Because in about a minute. So you said you have resigned from this role.
Yes.
Have you resigned from Azimio?
I have resigned from the position of the chairperson of the Youth League in Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition party.
But you're still a member of Jubilee.
I am a member of Jubilee. Remember?
You're not crossing over to UDA.
I am not. I have not.
You're not defecting to Kenya Kwanza.
I have no intention of crossing over to Kenya Kwanza.
Do you want to collaborate with Kenya Kwanza?
No. Not at this point.
Okay.
I have not. What I just did is that I felt my input is not appreciated. The people I represent should be actually, when these decisions are made, should be heard. And if they are not, the honorable thing. Remember also, it is honorable to resign than to make a lot of noise from inside and you're doing nothing. So if they have to put someone else, let them put. But I would tell you, the biggest challenge in Azimio is this. Azimio has no any elected leader, countrywide. So there is no... Yes.
Azimio does not have elected leader.
Azimio La Umoja One Kenya coalition party.
Yes,
had no any candidate.
This hour is a bit short, isn't it?
Yes.
There's no one.
Other than the presidential candidate.
There was
himself.
a candidate the other day in Bungoma.
Yes, I know there isn't. I know there isn't, but anyway, subject for discussion.
yes. That's
Solomon.
I know what in what context you're talking about. That is a coalition. We have members from ANC.
From
we have
individual
from Jubilee. We have members from ODM and all that. But as
a party, you
party
don't.
itself.
It's a short hour. Solomon,
no employees,
thank you for joining us
no
today.
contributions from members of parliament. So the party is has no resources, relies on leta kidogo, na mukikata, then there is no money for operations.
Solomon Kuria is a immediate former chair of the Azimio Youth League. Is telling us why he resigned from that position. Welcome again. Come back soon.
Thank you.
And we'd love to have you. It's 9 a.m. Good morning.
I'm Dennis Aseto. Interreligious leaders have called on the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions to reassure Kenyans on its independence and commitment to deal with corruption cases in the country. The religious leaders further said that the dropping of high-profile cases by the ODPP was questionable and made Kenyans lose trust in them.
We are concerned that the country has not exhibited firm commitment to deal with corruption and are shocked by the manner in which the Director of Public Prosecution is dropping cases touching on high-level crimes. The public confession by the Director that he was influenced by the previous regime to frame people through court cases means the office has lost independence and can no longer be trusted to not be influenced by the current regime to similarly frame other people. For this reason, we recommend that the Director takes time and takes decisive action to reassure Kenyans of the independence of this key constitutional organ.
And Kenya has launched its direct flights from Mombasa to Dubai. The first Kenya Airways flight took off after Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua presided over the launch at Moi International Airport. The DP noted that the event was historic as it is a dynamic way to sustain millions of jobs from the tourism sector. It will cost you up to 37,925 Kenya shillings to fly from Mombasa to Dubai after the launch of KQ. Direct flights still on matters transport, and CS Kipchumba Murkomen says Kenya Railway Services will offer transportation services from Nairobi to Kisumu from next week Monday. Murkomen says these will reduce traffic snags and scrambling for long distance PSVs, as one train can carry up to 800 people.
I have also good news for Kenyans who are traveling for Christmas. You don't have to fight for only road transport, especially now we are struggling with many people bringing unroadworthy vehicles to the road to fight for the space in road transport. The Kenya Railway Corporation is going to have scheduled rail transport from Nairobi to Kisumu, so you have opportunity to carry most people to the western part of the country from around 21st of this month up to 1st, 2nd, 3rd, when people will have returned back to Nairobi. Every day they will carry people from Nairobi to Kisumu. And if you book early and the demand goes higher, we can also increase the number of trains based on demand.
The CS further called on passengers not to allow PSV drivers to commit traffic offences. It says that citizens can mitigate the number of accidents by helping in achieving more enforcement.
A driver that we can see that is misbehaving on the road, why are we allowing them and cheering them on to continue committing traffic offences? If you're overspeeding, if the whole passengers in unison tell the driver, you either go properly or we report you to the police or we alight from this vehicle, we will be able to achieve more enforcement. If a driver is drunk, why do you have to board that matatu? Let's be able to tell the driver, I'm not boarding this vehicle because you are drunk. So citizens can help us achieve more enforcement if we take consideration.
The CS adds that the government is looking into a collaborative partnership with the Chinese government to extend the standard gauge railway from Mai Mahiu to Malaba. The proposed 5-year plan calls for the multi-billion-dollar railway line to run through Narok, Bomet, Nyamira, Kisumu, and finally Malaba. This came as the government declared it was eager to upgrade the country's railway because they had proven to be more affordable and secure for transportation of goods. The CS for Transport stated that the government is eager to develop the Naivasha Inland Container Depot to handle goods bound for various destinations in the nation and the region. And proponents of the genetically modified organisms may have to wait a little longer after the government applied more brakes on plans to import GMOs. High Court Judge Mugure Thande extended orders stopping the Ministries of Agriculture and Trade from gazetting any directives regarding GMOs or acting on the cabinet dispatch that announced the lifting of the ban on GMOs. Justice Thande observed that the court adopts the precautionary principle as per the Katigene Protocol on Biosafety, which aims to minimize potentially harmful effects on the environment and human health while balancing potential benefits to agriculture and trade. The lawsuit filed by a group known as Kenya Peasants League and lawyer Paul Mwangi alleges that GMO products pose a health risk to Kenyans, particularly the poor and those with low incomes. It also alleges that the government lifted the ban without involving Kenyans through public participation as required by the Constitution. And the High Court has frozen 2 properties belonging to Jane Waigwe Kimani, the wife of former Murang'a Governor Mwangi wa Iria, pending the determination of a suit in which EACC is seeking to recover the monies. The case continues today. I am Dennis Asseto. Good morning.
The Spice Newswire is brought to you by Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. Go ahead and get yours today. It's your time.
At a few minutes after 9 o'clock, still continues with traffic in certain parts of the city. Doesn't look too bad then coming off Uhuru Highway, but you're going to get just past the Nyeri Stadium roundabout and some traffic there. Landis Road, heavy traffic inbound, and still looking at quite some on Jogger Road. All right, what does it look like on Thika Superhighway? Again, heavy through to Survey. The service lanes, folks, is what they're telling us to use on SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Also hearing that, inbound on Kiambu Road is starting to level out. Should look all right. The Northern Bypass also taking on some traffic this morning, so watching out for that as well. Talk to us through the morning. Let's check in again about half hour and see what it looks like then. SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It's 7 minutes after 9, the 16th day of December 2022. It's the 5th day of Christmas, is it, Ndu?
It is.
Ever do like that?
How? On
City.
the 5th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
So it's not birds today.
Rings.
Today it's rings.
5 of them.
5 golden rings. To go with the 4 what? Singing things.
What? Calling birds.
4 calling birds. The 3 French things.
4. Those hens were 4.
There were 3.
3.
What happened to the other?
French.
3 French hens.
Walikula moja Christmas. 3 French birds.
Oh my God, have mercy. 3 French hens.
Hens.
Very musical. Wow.
She can sing.
That's what I just heard.
Whoa. You wait. I'm going to ask her to sing a Whitney Houston song shortly.
And then after that, we'll ask Eric to sing Kanu ya Jenga Nchi.
Fimbo ya Nyayo. I'll do that one. Fimbo ya Nyayo. Dr. Robert Madenge is our guest this morning. He's back to the studio as a consultant, interventional cardiologist and phlebologist. He's a section head of cardiology at the Nairobi Hospital and many other things. Before we welcome him, City, give him that proverb from Equatorial Guinea.
This is our final proverb from the country of Equatorial Guinea.
Okay.
Very many unique things. Longest serving president in the world. The other interesting thing is his vice president is his son. Unique, isn't it? Okay, now, a proverb. Wherever a man goes to dwell, his character goes with him.
Wow.
Wherever a man goes to dwell,
his character
goes with him.
How true. Wow.
Wherever you are, character
with
follows you.
Like you, Daktari, when you left Nairobi Hospital, your character came with you.
It's here.
That is a daunting truth.
Yes, it is. So Ndu is wearing a watch. It's a Samsung Galaxy Watch 5. And we told her to do it before you get in, so that you can tell us the condition of her heart, because the watch tells us. But now you can start by singing, "Where do broken hearts go?" Sing that.
This one is setting you up, isn't it?
Properly. ECG. This heart can tell your ECG at this heart.
This heart.
This watch can tell your ECG activity, and can tell me if the state of my heart is good, broken, okay. ECG. And Eric wanted to know, what? A watch that can do that? Yeah, actually. So how exactly does it do that? And what does it show? It's the Samsung Watch 5.
That's it, huh?
And what do you do with the information?
That's a question, Ndu. Where do broken hearts go?
You determine whether you
can they find their way to the doctor.
Yes, because usually that's what it is. Because that watch also tells you stress levels. It can measure stress levels.
Whether you've slept enough.
Yes.
Whether you need to sleep some more.
Okay.
Those 10,000 steps you told us to take can also tell you if you're at 8,455.
Absolutely.
Things like that.
One could argue
they can find their way home.
It is the sort of companion someone of your caliber and stature needs.
Yes, but I think it's even more useful where it is right now, because it empowers her.
Yeah,
it empowers her. She's now empowered. She doesn't need Dr. Mathenge to tell her that I need to do something about my health. So I think this is a good tool. And remember, all about health today is empowering the individual.
Right.
I think that's when you get the best outcomes, when you empower the people. So you are right now empowered.
Thank you very much.
Make good use
of the empowerment.
Of the empowerment.
Yes.
Okay. Sawa.
Sawa.
And you know where broken hearts should go.
They will find their way home. Back to the open.
Back to the open arms. And these hands will not let your heart break. Daktari,
yes.
Thank you very much for joining us again today. Today we want to talk about hypertension.
Yes.
And as we were promoting this, we were asking ourselves, so hypertension, high blood pressure, are they the same?
Okay.
What is hypertension?
Okay. Now, I must start by saying that hypertension and high blood pressure is literally the same kind of condition when we describe. Some people call it high blood pressure, others hypertension. But what is it really talking about? It's talking about that pressure that drives your heart, that drives blood through your blood vessels. Your heart pumps blood so as to enable your cells to get oxygen, glucose, and all that. You can imagine there has to be a circulatory system. That circulatory system has to have energy from a certain source, and the source is the heart itself. It has what we call contractility, the squeezing power. When it squeezes, then that driving pressure is what now transmits the blood throughout the system. If it is low, blood may not get where it is going. If it is too high, then it can cause damage to the vessels themselves. So in other words, the blood pressure is really what you feel. When you feel your pulse, you are going to feel a certain upstroke. That is the high, what you call the top pressure. And when the heart relaxes, then the pressure goes down. So it's a pulsatile thing. But the whole purpose is to drive blood through the system so that we can do two things. Number one, you have to generate energy. For me to speak, I have to generate energy. So the food I ate, the glucose, the oxygen, they have to be delivered to the cells. When delivered to the cells, then the chemical processes develop the energy that I need. And after that, there are going to be waste products, water, carbon dioxide, stuff, and other waste products. They also have to come out, otherwise they'll poison the body. Now they come out through another system. what brings in the good things are the arteries, and what now gets out the waste products are the veins, okay? And that system requires pressure to drive it. Now, when it is within normal limits, it's okay. If it is too low, is a problem. If it's too high, is a problem. And there are many processes in between that determine, what's going to happen in terms of is it too high, and what are the consequences, etc.
When would you say then that it becomes a problem? Because, sometimes you go for a checkup, whatever, they take your they take your pressure, isn't it? And then they say, okay, let's give it a few minutes and let's check again. When does it become a problem? Because you could have had activity, you could have come walking, you could have come, done something, and maybe your pressure is high, and then they say, let's try it again later. When is it an issue then for something to be done about it, or even when it is low? When does it become an issue? Because you might feel a flash of stress and you feel, but it's not something that you feel regularly. Well, when it becomes regular, is that when now it becomes an issue?
The diagnosis of high blood pressure is something that needs to be done very carefully, because blood pressure can be affected by many things. For instance, as I was coming, we kind of lost the way, almost lost the way, and I got a bit concerned. Hey, the line is coming, and
am I going to be late?
That in itself, if I get here and immediately now you're the doctor and you take my blood pressure, it will be high. It will probably be 145 over 93. Okay. If you were to imagine that that's my blood pressure and start me on medication, you'd probably be wrong, because after I sat here for 5, 6, 7, 10 minutes, probably my blood pressure now has come down to maybe 135 over 85. So in other words, there are certain circumstances that we recommend under which blood pressure should be taken. Number one, it should never be taken when you just walk into a place, come out of the traffic jam, come out of a park somewhere, then walk into the office. You need to rest for 10, 15 minutes, okay? Seated, relaxed. That allows all the changes in blood pressure from activity. Remember, if I put you right now on a treadmill, tell you to exercise, I'll see your blood pressure systematically going up. After 3 minutes, I'll see your blood pressure is 155 over 95. After 6 minutes, it will be 165 over 95. And I could drive it through exercise to 200 over 110. But after we finish the treadmill, and I tell you to relax, it gradually come down to 130 over 80. Okay? So in other words, there are certain circumstances that we recommend. Number one, once you take some minutes, relax. The other things that we talk about are things like taking caffeine, tea, coffee. You've just taken a nice cup of tea, you should wait for at least 45 minutes before you do blood pressure, because caffeine will raise your heart rate, will raise your blood pressure. If, for instance, you've just walked in and you wanted to see the doctor quickly, but you have a full bladder, a bladder that is full and pain, discomfort, you are literally moving, but you don't want to miss the appointment. You want, another patient will go in before you. So you're staying there with a totally full bladder. When your blood pressure is taken, it will be high. So we recommend go make sure your bladder is empty, okay? You are comfortable.
You be relaxed.
There will be a lot of overdiagnosis and over-treatment. So those are the circumstances. And then there are those people, we say, in the hospital environment, they have what Professor Muga here would tell you, white coat hypertension. People, by the anxiety of being in a hospital environment, you are going to meet this doctor and you don't know what kind of information you are going to get. What are you going to be told about your health that you did not know? There are some people, about 1 in 5 people, will have persistent high blood pressures when they come to the clinic. But when they are at home, their blood pressures are normal. So we have a certain way to diagnose them. 2 things. We can either put a monitor. You come to the office, we put a monitor on you. You carry it, that you take your blood pressure every 15 minutes, 4 times in an hour during the day, and 2 times in an hour during the night. So you have like 80 readings throughout a 24-hour period. Or if you have a gadget at home, we give you circumstances under which you can do home monitoring. It's even cheaper. You do home monitoring. So those people, we have to really make a diagnosis on them based on what we call ambulatory blood pressure monitoring or home monitoring. Because persistently, they'll tell you, Daktari, but when I'm at home,
I'm okay.
I'm okay.
Until
when
I
I come
see
here,
you.
my blood pressure is 160 over 100. Are you going to put me on treatment? We do have, so we have that also what we call labile hypertension, reactive, people whose blood pressures go up. But we have ways of telling whether they need treatment or not by sometimes checking to see whether is it affecting them in any way. You could look into their eyes, look at the back of the eyes, see whether the arteries are changing. You could do an ECG in a specialist clinic, like in our clinics. We can actually do an echo. If we find that there are early subtle changes due to high blood pressure, then we are going to say, although your pressure comes on only at this particular times, there are times it's normal, it is having an effect on you, and therefore we'll need to treat it.
Okay.
So in other words, we have to be careful about diagnosis because, again, we don't want to miss people who have hypertension because they're always missed. It's a big problem. Again, we don't want to overtreat because that has consequences also. There are side effects of medication. There is the cost of medication and all that. So it's something that needs to be weighed and done carefully.
Well, at the risk of those listening who would then go into some kind of self-diagnosis, what are some of the symptoms of high blood pressure?
Now, I'm sure you may have heard, we do not rely on symptoms for blood pressure. If you wait for symptoms, you never, you're going to be in trouble, okay? So,
okay.
If you wait for symptoms, because the pressure coming up in your system is usually silent most of the time.
Sure, but Daktari, we're operating in a society whereby until and unless there is something that you feel,
yes,
the chances of the majority of people bringing themselves to a medical facility to be checked are very low. I understand that care-seeking behavior is actually not, it doesn't do very well in our communities until you feel pain. I mean, we've had people testifying who've had cancer and say, look, why was I going to go and get a test when I felt nothing?
I was okay.
Right? I was fine. Until something else happened is when I was told, and here I was with stage 4 cervical cancer, right? Now, when you feel something is what it urges you.
It's when you...
There are very few, we've seen the numbers.
Care. That's when you seek care.
We've seen the numbers. There are very few people who are even going for a yearly checkup. So again, with high blood pressure, which again we are told is affecting numerous people in the society, until you have cold sweat or, feeling that, you're not going to go to the doctor to check.
You know what you've said is really the real problem with high blood pressure. But let me put it this way. About maybe 10% of the people might feel something, okay? The majority don't feel. Yeah, probably 90% of the people don't feel anything. There are some people who get a bit of a headache. And surely, there are some people who clearly when their pressures go up, they have some headache. But the reason we cannot rely on that is because maybe 9 out of 10 will not feel anything. So if you tell people, if you have headache, if you don't have headache, you may not have high blood pressure. Then, of course, a lot of people get in trouble. There are some other people who might even feel a little dizzy, okay? There are other people, when it is very high, then when it is now starting to complicate, is starting to affect the function of the heart. Then they'll get shortness of breath when they walk. They may even have water in the body. So remember, those are now people who are presenting with the signs. But most of the times, if you wait for symptoms, then it presents in a catastrophic way.
Sure.
Catastrophically. In other words, in a boardroom or in a meeting like this, God forbid, a stroke, a bleed in the head,
or a possibility of a lot of people
a dissection, or the pressure being so high, it splits the pipe like the aorta. It's called the aorta. Okay, dissection. Those are catastrophic presentations, which are really catastrophic, in terms of the outcomes and all that. Because we do not rely on symptoms, and that's the main challenge for hypertension. Because if you look at like the survey done in Kenya in 2015, the number of Kenyans who have high blood pressure who are on treatment were not more than 20%.
So are we saying
Now-
that there's a high possibility of many more people in the community with high blood pressure but have not gone in to seek care or even seek diagnosis?
And that's what exactly I'm saying. Because of the challenge you have raised, this is not a disease that you're going to develop and then it drives you like a pneumonia where you start getting cough and chest pain, you go. Because it is not like that. Most people are undiagnosed. They do not know that they have hypertension. Most people. In fact, in that survey on it, even people who have high blood pressure who are on treatment were not more than 20%. In other words, most people number one, are not detected.
All right.
Because you have to have some other way of detecting them other than people taking themselves to hospital because they are feeling unwell. Okay? And even because of that, again, even when you are detected and you are started on treatment, you don't know, you are not able to use your signs and symptoms to monitor yourself. If it's a pneumonia, you know when you stop coughing, you are okay. For blood pressure, you don't know.
You don't know when you're okay.
You don't know when you are okay and when you are not, till you go to the doctor or and unless you are empowered like you and you can do your own blood pressure. So that means that detection is very poor.
Yeah.
Control is very poor. And I mean, treatment is very poor. Those people who offer themselves treatment. And also control is very poor. Very few people are controlled because most people assume once you see the doctor and you're put on a tablet, you're okay.
Okay.
Only to find that you needed a bit of monitoring to find out whether that dose is enough. Maybe it brought your blood pressure from 170 to 150, 170 over 100 to 150 over 90, okay? But you needed addition of another little tablet to now bring it to 130 over 80. So control is also a challenge. So you find, and it's not only a challenge in our own environment here, because the challenge here is much, much higher. In fact, when we are talking about people on treatment here, about 20%, and women a little more than men, in the best of places, we are talking about 60 to 70%. In the best of places, everybody else is in between there. And that is being on treatment. And when it comes to those who are controlled, almost everywhere in the world, you hardly ever get even 50% control because of the same challenges. You're put on medication, you're on treatment, but this does not have any signs that will tell you are not yet optimal, okay? You're not yet optimal. So you stay uncontrolled till you take yourself to a doctor or you monitor it by yourself. So these are the challenges of high blood pressure. It's really a big challenge out there in the community. And because of that, we have a lot of poor outcomes, driven by high blood pressure in society. The strokes, the heart attacks. We have a lot of outcomes just due to high blood pressure.
Dr. Ari, there's one thing I've not heard you say. The cause. So there are reasons why somebody's blood pressure could go up, like you've said. You walked, you got into a doctor, there's some anxiety because of pre-something. Pre-exam, pre-interview, anxiety, you're late. So those things are just keep happening in your daily life. But it's not high blood pressure. It's basically your pressure going up and then it comes back and stabilizes.
Yes.
But when it becomes a disease, what is it that causes it to become like a constant high?
Yes.
What causes that?
What causes? I think if you look historically, and I think we mentioned that before, if you look at our society, and I remember I mentioned that, like there's somebody who went to Nyanza, North Kavirondo in 1929 and looked at 1,800 people from the age of 15 to 70. Of course, I don't know how he literally knew the ages of these people.
In 1929.
But there are ways, anthropometric ways of telling. They had scientific ways. they had scientific ways of looking at the bone age and all that between 15 and 70, and they looked over a 2-year period. They did not find a single case of high blood pressure. And they found other kind of diseases, like a bit of rheumatic, a bit of congenital and all that. So when you look at that was a society in 1929. And if you go there now, you find that at least 1 in 4 of those people we will have high blood pressure. A quarter. And in fact, some studies have shown up to 40 to 50%, of people of adults, in our country, have high blood pressure. So you look and you see what happened. What was the difference between then and now? And at that time, I remember when I looked at that, I found it interesting because they said when they compared with the white people, they said, therefore, this is civilization is what has caused this. These people are not civilized. And we are civilized. That's why we have high blood pressure in 1929. So civilization
was the cause.
Was the cause. That was. This was a researcher, and he came out and said, "You can," and he is actually correct. Only that, but so now, in other words, if we were to look at it, I would now say what caused it. I think for us now, I would say it is colonization.
I would call it.
It's colonization.
Modern day living.
Modern day living. It's not colonization.
Not particularly. I wouldn't call it that. You see, the thing is, the racial overtones will actually move us away from what it is that modernization has done.
Yes.
Because it has brought about changes in lifestyle. It has a restructuring of communities. Just the novelty of things, just dealing with things you're not accustomed to. If I'm to go by the description and the definitions you've given, that will raise your blood pressure.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, it's on a light touch.
Yes.
In terms of civilization, you can, there's a connotation of what happened to get you civilized.
Yes, that's what I'm calling it. If you leave the racial overtones aside.
On a light touch, what has cost us is that is westernization. I mean, we have, in other words, if we look at our culture at that time, what our dietary habits at that time, what our physical activity, habits at that time, what were our stress levels and societal management of stress at that particular time. What has civilization, westernization does to really, that's done to all those things. For instance, in terms of diet, clearly we had the kind of diet that is today you find being recommended today to lower blood pressure.
We did not eat processed foods.
We did not eat processed foods. We did not eat a lot of salt. No. We did not have imbalances of high sugar, sweetened things. We ate a lot of vegetable farm produce, fresh meats, and only on occasion. So in other words, those are the things we need to look at. Number one is diet in terms of causing high blood pressure. The other thing is even the BMI. I imagine, unless you correct me, in 1929 you'd have been unlikely to see, somebody in the so-called North Kavirodo with a big pot belly, right? The shape of the human being, the BMI.
But even then,
the chief, only the chief.
You are right, because the diet that people had then would not lend itself to such a shape to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
So in other words, like for instance, obesity in Kenya today, again in that study, was like in men about 27%. BMIs, and women about 38%. And you find that the same proportion of men in society, same proportion as the BMI, have high blood pressure. So you can see the relationship between body shape and high blood pressure. Our body shapes have changed. If your great-great-parents came alive, they will not recognize you today. They wonder what kind of, is this a human being? Because your shape is different. It's completely different.
Actually, what you say lends itself to a certain truth that is being spoken of in the West, specifically the Scandinavian countries and the Dutch. Because the Dutch are the tallest people in the world.
Yes.
And the Danes and so forth follow. But it's being associated with the diet that they've had from a very early age. And they talk about meat, milk, dairy diets.
Absolutely.
And the argument, the discussion around that with the finding that I was reading was that they had overtaken the Americans, who are considered to be the tallest. Now remember, they're not just tall. Americans are tall and huge.
Yes.
But these fellows are tall and sinewy.
Absolutely.
Yes. So I'm simply saying that your discussion around the diet is actually profound to this entire thing. And that's why I was saying that if you looked at any African society, even if somebody had a pot belly, the likelihood of that person being unhealthy was slim. Yes. It was probably was.
It was just the chief, because the chief does nothing.
Yes. Because of
apart from ordering people around.
Just ordering people and eating every time somebody comes.
Too many free
eats.
goods.
Yes, every time somebody comes, eats. we are eating. Let's take a break, Doc. Then we'll continue the conversation shortly. 26 to 10. This is the situation room. Dr. Robert Madenge is a consultant, interventional cardiologist and phlebotomist. He's also the head of the cardiology section at the Nairobi Hospital. He is also with the Equatorial Heart and Blood Vessel Clinic. He's here today because we're talking about hypertension. We want to understand the causes, the symptoms, and the treatment of hypertension. Keep it here for more conversations coming up shortly. Kiwi?
Step up and shine with Kiwi. Walk into your supermarket today, buy a tin of Kiwi Black Polish. After you have paid for it, look under the lid. You get a code which you will send to when you dial *456 *459 *5#, and you get airtime instantly or bundles instantly and a chance to enter into the draw where you can win 35,000 shillings in school fees until the 7th of February. Do it.
Go and do it. Get school fees, lower your blood pressure.
Pressure in general.
Certainly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The festive season is here, and it's that time to enjoy a polite drink of your choice and nyama choma with friends and family as we wind down to the end of the year. This time around, Team Naivas wants you to know that nyama choma is on them because kila Mkenya ni mshindi thanks to Krisi Kikwetu offers at all Naivas branches across the country. Join me, Edward Kwach, on the Spice Drive from 3 p.m. every weekday to learn more about the Krisi Kikwetu discounts, rewards, and prizes you can win at your local Naivas, and also for a chance to win special festive season vouchers for yourself and your family, courtesy of Team Naivas.
It's a magical Christmas at Westgate Shopping Mall. Spend 1,000 Kenya shillings and above and stand to win an all-inclusive Mediterranean cruise to the most beautiful cities in Europe. Visit Rome, Venice, Barcelona, and get to bring someone with you. You also have the chance to win once-in-a-lifetime balloon safari over the Masai Mara and a luxury stay at Marangecha Camp, and the opportunity to win 500,000 worth of luxury furniture from Queen Picks. It's magical, and it's all yours to experience simply by shopping at Westgate Shopping Mall. Get ready to fall in love with the new Samsung Galaxy Buds 2 Pro, featuring intelligent 360 audio which makes the sound feel more realistic than ever before. Not only that, they can feature enhanced head tracking, making every movement stay in sync so you get an immersive experience. Designed to fit comfortably, the Samsung Galaxy Buds 2 Pro will also help you stay connected by automatically popping up on your Samsung Galaxy devices, and with just a tap, you can connect. As simple as that. Available in all select Samsung stores countrywide. Meet the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 series with a new epic standard for tablets. The Galaxy Tab S8, S8 Plus, and S8 Ultra come with the brand new S8 Pen, so you can power your creativity and take your productivity to the next level. Featuring the fastest chip ever on a Samsung Galaxy tablet, you can be sure of lightning fast speeds when you play or work. Connect your Tab S8 to your other Galaxy devices for a seamless, continuous experience. Available in select Samsung stores countrywide.
All right, sunny conditions in Nairobi, going to highs of 26 today, and we'll see highs of 26 as well in Nakuru. 25 will be the high in sunny Nyeri, and we'll see highs of 25 in Eldoret. 31 is what we're looking at as a high in Mombasa, and it'll go to highs of 32 in Malindi. We'll see highs of 28 in Kisumu and highs of 27 in Kakamega. Looking into Kampala, heavy thunderstorms at 21, highs of 27, and it's raining in Dar es Salaam at 31, going to highs of 32. Light rain in Johannesburg to highs of 24 and lows of 16, and it's also now raining in Lagos at 25, going to highs of 32, and we'll see highs of 30 in a rainy Kinshasa. -2 in Beijing, going into Friday evening, -1 will be the high, and lows of -14. The snow keeps coming down in Paris. It's -4. We'll see highs of 4 and highs of 3 in a clear London at -3 currently. Rain showers bear with the cold at 6 in New York. Coming into Friday, we'll see highs of 8 and lows of 3. Okay, looks like Jogo Road will see less traffic in a short while, but all of that is spilling over to Landis, which is heavy into the city, heavy onto Haile Selassie from Kamkunji and into the CBD, that whole area. Quite some traffic there this morning. Ooh, it's not looking much better on the Thika Superhighway. We're still looking at heavy traffic then inbound through towards Wangari Maathai and then on to Murang'a Road this morning. So that's still heavy there. Kiambu Road is still heavy as you come into the city as well. Keep an eye on things. SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. 94.4 Spice FM,
We
Nairobi.
continue the conversation for the next 20 minutes with Dr. Robert Madenge, consultant, interventional cardiologist and phlebologist. So, Dr. you're saying mainly it's lifestyle.
Yes.
That is a cause of high blood pressure in the society. And it's difficult to diagnose. And for several reasons. One, our care-seeking behavior. And two, even when you go to the hospital and you present yourself, it's not about the symptoms. At that point, it's too late.
Yes.
Or it's not too late, it's late.
Mm-hmm.
So, what should we do then so that we can tell that you're actually at the onset of high blood pressure?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in terms of, I would like to, something we mentioned during the during the break, that people, we need to realize the impact of hypertension in health today. And I would like to recap some of the figures we had mentioned earlier. That out of 2019, out of the 18 million people who died of cardiovascular disease, 85% of them were due to heart attacks and strokes all over the world. Okay, 85%. 3/4 of those deaths were in countries like ours. You know, we have this notion of thinking these are diseases of the West. The West has managed to identify these risk factors. Not only the West, the rest of most of the world, and work on them. 3/4 of those are in countries like ours. 3/4 of that 18 million.
Is that the banana? So what do you call them, City?
Low
and middle income.
Third World Banana Republic.
The low and middle income countries or the third world banana republic?
Yeah.
Which one were you referring to?
That's the one you normally call them.
But that's exactly what they are.
Countries like ours.
It's countries like ours. I mean, we're being told you're low income. The moment you do not have a very large portion of your population out of what we call the poverty level, then you can't call yourself anything other than a third world
banana republic.
You can't. I mean, how else do you call yourself that?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, back to Doc. So a majority of those deaths occurred in countries such as ours.
Countries such as
undeveloped.
Low and middle income. Kenya is a low middle income country, you know, and the majority. I mean, as far as we are told by the economics. Now, the majority of those are in those countries. Now, out of those, how much of that is driven by high blood pressure? For strokes, about half of those deaths are driven by high blood pressure alone. Wow. Forget about all those other factors. Wow. The majority of those millions of people who die from stroke, half of them are driven by high blood pressure as a primary cause. And about almost a similar number, about 40-45% are driven of death from heart attacks are driven by, again, high blood pressure. You can see the impact of high blood pressure. And remember, now, when you look at the distribution of high blood pressure all over the world again, you would say, I think there are like 1.3 billion people today all over the world with high blood pressure. About 80 to 85% of all those people are again in low and middle income countries like ours. Why is that? That was not the situation 30 years ago. 30 years ago and beyond, the majority of those people were in the West, okay? But now it has shifted to us. Why? Because we have embraced all those risk factors, but we have not embraced the interventions, okay, that prevent people from getting high blood pressure. So you can see that your chance of getting into what are we trying to prevent here? We are trying to prevent premature death and disability. If you don't control your blood pressure, which really is a reflection of many other things, including your physical activity, your weight, and all that, you are likely to reduce your lifespan by 20 to 30 years. Instead of getting to about 100 where your genes allow you to get, as human beings, your genes, you are going to find that a stroke may come in at the age of 70, when naturally, of course, people do get, you have to exit from something, most of it will be a stroke, around, it should happen in the late 90s, 100 years. So if you don't control your blood pressure, then premature strokes, heart attacks, organ failures like kidney failures come 20 to 30 years earlier. And today is the most prevalent cause of premature death, which denies you a good, long quality of life, denies the nation years of productivity, and of course, family life. So I think we all need to look at high blood pressure as a significant cause of premature death and disability, and therefore, and to be the commonest preventable cause. It is the commonest and preventable cause, okay? Because it happens in so many people. So you can imagine how many people are being admitted today in hospital because of high blood pressure. If it is something that happened in 1 out of 20, but you are talking about something that is happening in 1 out of 4, 1 out of 3. So you can imagine the cost to the nation in terms of building infrastructure to treat it, training people to treat it, buying medicines to treat it, and all that. Yet, other countries have managed to lower all these things by working on the interventions, because we know the risk factors. We know them, including tobacco use, including excessive alcohol use. We see a lot of young people in their 30s and 35. When I see somebody walking into my office is 35, living on the fast line, and their blood pressure is, and they have come with high blood pressure, all you ask them is, how much alcohol are you taking? How much sleep are you doing? Yes. Are you smoking? And you find that their blood pressure at the age of 35 is just due to excessive alcohol use, smoking, for those who smoke, and of course the diet itself, which affects them. So, in other words, it is a problem. And remember, like I said, 80% of all these diseases are lifestyle related. And you can change your life's course into a longer, good quality, enjoyable, longer life, okay? By just adopting, identifying, or making yourself aware of the risk factors and working on them.
Some of one group in society that seems to also be highly affected by this is women. Why is that? We also see that there's something they call, we see that there's conditional diabetes, conditional high blood pressure, especially with pregnancy for women. Sometimes after the lifespan of a pregnancy, the high blood pressure disappears, but in some cases it remains. Yeah, absolutely. Why is this, and why do we see a higher prevalence that we've seen in women?
Incidentally, I remember I said, when you look at obesity and body mass index is quite significantly associated with high blood pressure. And it's interesting that you find, in men, you find at 27%, incidence of hypertension, and if you look at the obesity in Kenya, it will be about 27. In women, you look at about 38% incidence of obesity, and you find that about 38% incidence of hypertension. So in other words, there is more obesity for reasons that maybe we can discuss in women, okay? But also there are other factors that come in. There are other subtle causes of high blood pressure, even like contraceptive pills. So in other words, and of course there are those conditional circumstances, one of which of course is contraceptives, pregnancy, etc. So in other words, we do have that, but again, there's something positive in that you find that more women are on treatment than men. In fact, you find that for some reason, in fact, in the previous surveys in Kenya, you find that when only 10% of men will be on treatment, about 20% of women will be on treatment.
So are we saying, therefore, Daktari, that the care-seeking behavior of women is more responsive to issues of illness than men?
Actually, that's one asks oneself that question. But I think part of it is the fact that women have more contact with the healthcare system than men, obligatory contact. For instance, they'll go in for antenatal service.
Yeah.
They'll go in for contraceptive service. They'll go in mostly to take children to hospital. Okay? So it appears like there is more access, there is more contact with the healthcare system because more women are on treatment. As to whether the more women are controlled or not, that's an issue, but there are more women on treatment in Kenya than men. Okay, but women also, there are more women. But I think it is a matter of the healthcare behavior. I think there's a point in which you could say women are more health care seeking than men. Men have, you see, the way men have been characterized in Kenya is that they are independent. They're not dependent on people. Every morning you come across, every day you come across somebody who feels, I'm fine. They don't seek for help. They don't also discuss their issues. Yep. Women are more prone to discuss, tell their best friends,
not best friends, 10 best friends.
10 So no, we wait for her confirmation. I will not say yes or no.
I may be a different specimen. So maybe.
But the reality of the matter is that almost double the number of women in terms of percentage of control higher than men. But we know. So the question you raise, Dr. Mugo, is really relevant. I think it is the health-seeking behavior of women appears to be more positive than men. And we see that all the time. Men are in denial. By the time you get a man to go to hospital,
something must be broken.
That's true. But we are trying to change that. This is something we need to try and change. Because, again, you find men will stay till there is a catastrophic outcome.
Men will be taken to
hospital.
They'll be taken to hospital. And when they go to hospital, they'll not be taken to the general ward, they'll be taken to ICU or HDU. So we need to, this is something, a conversation that needs to be really held with men.
Daktari, yes, I'm not avoiding that particular topic.
Yes.
Because I am hypertensive. Okay. I am on medication.
Yes.
I even walk around with a gadget used for measuring blood pressure.
Blood pressure.
Yes.
Yes.
I always have one.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Now, what I want to ask is, can we really talk about high blood pressure and not at least talk about low blood pressure?
Incidentally, that's a good point, because when you talk about high, you have to talk about low. But we have very, very few problems with low blood pressure. And again, low blood pressure, it depends on the context. For instance, all of us is like height. Your height is different from mine. Her height is different. Height is different. So you find that if your pressure is 90/60, okay, which in him, he will be going to see the doctor. I have low blood pressure. And that's the way you've always been, and you are optimally functional at that blood pressure. No symptoms at all. No probable cause can be found, okay? Then that's your normal blood pressure. And you're optimally functional at that point, okay? And all your medical checkups are normal. Somebody else will have a blood pressure of 130/80, and then they are on blood pressure medications, and one morning they feel dizzy, okay, they feel lightheaded, and they take their blood pressure is 90/60. It has come down by 20 to 30 and 5 to 10 on each side. That now is abnormal. So in other words, we have to really define the context. If you have high blood pressure and you end up with low blood pressure, then it's a question of, are you overdose? Are you taking extra medications than you should? Okay. Or is there something else? Or have you developed a complication like your heart has failed and therefore is no longer able to generate pressure? But so low blood pressure, and there are some circumstances under which we find people with low blood pressure. For instance, there are some people with the problems with their adrenal glands. They're not able to produce the hormones that keep our arteries tight, okay? And they come, and those are people who initially had what would be considered to be normal blood pressures, then they present with the low blood pressure. So those ones we evaluated. So we don't, as a public health issue, low blood pressure is not a major issue, but you'll find it in specific individuals and can be dealt with.
Is hypertension curable?
No, that's a good question, and it's really an issue for disease, because once you have a problem, you want to get cured.
Yep.
I mean, you want to go back to normality. Now, we talk about control. For blood pressure, we talk about three things: detection, because it's a problem, treatment, and control. So blood pressure, for the majority of the people, we talk about control, because some of the things that bring blood pressure are not just, not just the lifestyle. We also have, there is a genetic component to it. We can blame blood pressure also to your ancestors, okay? There is a bit of genetics which allows people's blood pressure to go much higher than it should as years go by, as we age. So there are some people, after the age of 45, genetically their blood pressures go up, okay? And those people, despite the fact that they can benefit from lifestyle interventions, they may still need a little medication to take care of the changes in their blood vessels and their hearts due to that genetic component. So, in other words, for the majority, I would say almost about 85% of the people, it is a matter of control. There are those people in whom blood pressure has been brought about, number one, by some specific medical conditions. For instance, we call them secondary hypertension. If you, for instance, you have two arteries, mostly you have two arteries supplying the kidneys with blood, two arteries. If any of those arteries were, for some reason, what you call connective tissue disease or some other, to be narrowed, then you find that because the kidney is involved in generating those enzymes, those hormones that regulate blood pressure, your blood pressure goes up. But why has your blood pressure gone up? Because you have a narrowed kidney artery. If you are producing some of these hormones that affect blood pressure, like in the adrenals, the aldosterone, adrenal glands and all that around the kidneys, again, we call that secondary. In other words, blood pressure is caused by a specific disease. And the treatment of blood pressure will be treating that specific disease. Okay. If it is that narrowed artery, we will come, put a catheter there, put a little balloon, put a little stent, open it up, and your blood pressure will be gone. If it is, so in other words, there are the secondary causes. Those ones can be cured. But it's not the majority. You're talking about maybe 5% for those secondary causes, not more than 5% of blood pressure is caused by those secondary causes. There are others who will be on some medications that raise blood pressure. They've been put on medications for this, or maybe some steroids or something like that for some other condition, maybe lupus or something, and their blood pressure goes up. Those are the curable ones. The others that are curable are the ones specifically caused by lifestyle, by diet, weight, okay, lack of physical activity, smoking, alcohol. If you've been taking a lot of alcohol and you stop, within 6 weeks, a lot of people see even up to 10, 12 millimeters reduction on blood pressure. They don't need anything else. Because your blood pressure is caused by alcohol. Also, tobacco will do the same. So you can see the types that are curable. But for the majority of the people, we seek for control. And one thing we tell people is that once you are controlled, you are equal to that person who has never had blood pressure. People always say, oh, I'm going to be on medication for life. You don't lose anything. When you control your blood pressure, you are now equal to your friend who has never had blood pressure in terms of your quality of life, your length of life, except, of course, that you take a tablet every day.
Every day you have to take something.
And you pay a certain cost. Yes.
Daktari, always a pleasure having you. Always a pleasure. We look forward to having you again and wishing you at this point the very best of the holidays and the very best into the new year as well.
Oh, thank you. I really wish you the same. I wish you a very blessed Christmas and New Year. And all the listeners as well.
Asante sana.
Yes,
Dr. Robert Madhenge, consultant interventional cardiologist and phlebotomist, head of the cardiology section at Nairobi Hospital, and also from the Equatorial Heart and Blood Vessel Clinic. He's been our guest. We'll be talking about high blood pressure, hypertension. You know what you need to do. What's your lifestyle? It's a beginning. And even as we go into Christmas. Now, we have an announcement to make it.
What happened? Oh, right.
Yeah,
So, the show takes a break for a couple of weeks going into the festive season. You'll be able to hear the best of the Situation Room's conversations over the next couple of weeks. We will be here with you as the new year clocks in. Always with you, though, that's for sure.
You're taking a break? So you won't be here on Monday?
I'll be where?
Yeah.
Here, right here, where I'm
Physically,
sitting. No, physically, no.
Okay.
But we'll be sharing the shows we've had. We'll highlight very many of the shows we've had in the course of the year, so that those who love reminiscing can reminisce.
Okay.
Yes.
The reminiscers.
Yes.
Can reminisce.
Yes.
All right. Enjoy. Happy holidays. We see you next year, God willing. Enjoy this festive season. Enjoy responsibly and be careful on the roads. Good morning. 10 a.m.
The lawsuit filed by a group known as the Kenya Pigeons League and lawyer Paul Mwangi alleges that GMO products pose a health risk to Kenyans, particularly the poor and those with low incomes.